Good morning, everyone. My name is Paul Luna. I'm with Helios Education Foundation. It's my honor to be the official welcome to all of you, and I know many of you have been to Helios before. So, for those that are coming back, welcome back. We're so happy to have you here. If anyone is new to Helios, to the campus, we just want to ensure you that you are always welcome here. The Helios Education Foundation and our board created this campus for days like today, where we get a chance to bring community together on a really important topic that impacts education in our state and maybe across the world, and that we get to bring really talented group together to have these types of discussions. So we're very excited about what's ahead today. That's about the extent of my knowledge and substance to AI. So that's all. That's all you're going to hear from me. And we'll move on to the smarter, brighter, more talented people here shortly. I did want to acknowledge we have one of our board members here, Jim Swanson. Thank you, Jim, for being here. Um, our everybody knows this. I always say this, and I'm going to introduce Barbara in a second. I always say nothing happens at Helios unless Barbara Rand Thompson wants it to happen. She would be the first one to say, but nothing happens that she wants to happen unless the board wants it to happen. So we got this hierarchy very clear here at Helios. We know how this works. But Jim, thank you for being here. But thank you, all of you, for being here today. All I'm going to share is that we actually could have 4 times the number of people in this room today. I think that's how important and how interesting this topic is. And that's how world-renowned our guest, Dr. Crompton, is. And you'll hear more about her from Chad and others. But we intentionally wanted to keep this conversation to a smaller group so that there could be interaction. So as much as you engage, and I think there'll be so much for you that will engage you. And I think Dr. Crompton enjoys that. And I think she's well equipped to answer any and all questions and provide context. And that's why we're so excited today. We will not solve the future of AI in one day or in one meeting, but I think this will ground us as a community in helping us to work together better as we start to think about how this future, and now and into the future, is going to continue to impact all of our work, what we do in the community, and most importantly, I think from an education perspective, how do we educate our students to be most successful long-term and drive the future of our state. So we're very excited to have you here. I do want to acknowledge Leanne Lindsay, and it's Leanne's relationship with Dr. Crompton that really was us to be able to get in our community. So Leanne, you've been such a great leader in this space as well, and you're bringing your colleagues and friends to us, and we couldn't thank you enough, and I want to make sure we acknowledge you publicly for that. I'm going to turn the program over to the 2 architects for today and for this series on AI that we've envisioned, and that's Barbara Ann Thompson and Chad Gueston. And so I'm going to ask Barbara to come up and talk a little bit just briefly about why AI, why today, what are we thinking, at least from our perspective, from a Helios perspective, and you can think about yourself as well. And then Dr. Gueston will talk more about how this is evolving and how this comes to be. So I'm going to invite Barbara up first, but today is Barbara's birthday. And so I will tell you, so in addition to making her work on her birthday, don't take that out on me. She could have done whatever she wanted. But Barbara will also tell you she doesn't love it like speaking. She does it much better now. So on her birthday, we're actually making her speak. Yeah. So to make her feel better, I'm going to ask everybody to sing her happy birthday. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, dear Barbara. Happy birthday to you.
Well, thank you for that. No, I appreciate that. That was a highlight of the day. Yeah, actually. So, no, we really do appreciate you all being here. And the question, I was asked to talk about is why AI. And so I will say to you that, and some of you may have been in the same boat. 2 years ago, I would have said, how can I avoid this thing? I don't know what it is. It's major change. I don't want anything to do with it. And now I have moments of, where has this been all my life? I mean, it has made my life so much easier in many, many ways. So it's moving incredibly fast. We got to spend a little time with Dr. Crompton yesterday, and it is, as Jim Swanson said earlier, the genie is out of the bottle. There's no putting it back. How do we use it? How do we use it for ourselves in our personal lives? How do we use it to make our work more efficient, our organizations more impactful? for Helios, the question for us, it becomes how does it help improve teaching and learning? I mean, that our mission is about that, and it is for many of you. But I know there are other folks in the room too who have other missions. So, but how do we really bring it to bear to make our lives better? So that's really the journey we want to start today. Today is going to be a little bit more about how we use it in our organizations, really an overview of what's happening, where we are today, what's coming. And in future sessions, Chad will talk about this more. We're going to get deeper into education, and so we appreciate you being on this learning journey with us. We think you'll get a lot of great insight and information today that you can start using immediately. But we hope you continue with us in the subsequent sessions that we're bringing together. So thank you, and I'm going to hand it off to Chad to talk about the detail.
Excellent, thank you. I just want to point out that Paul, Barbara, and I are all working off paper this morning. And part of that's our commitment to Dr. Crompton to stay away from her technology. So you're welcome. Well, thank you so much for being here today. My job is to spend a few extra minutes kind of laying the foundation for today in general. I did just want to start by thanking Paul and Barbara and Helios for your partnership on this series, which I'll talk about here in a second. This is part one of a multi-part series, as Barbara just alluded to. We'll go deeper into education in the future, but also just on behalf of the Institute, want to thank Helios for your partnership over the last 2.5 years. And Paul, since before the Institute was even an institute, you were one of our thought partners. And then again, thank you to Dr. Crompton for being here, and to Leanne and Dr. Forlis and Seth on our team. Thanks for your efforts in pulling today together. As I shared, today is part one of a 4-part series. I'll give you a glimpse. Our goal, you have not seen the dates yet, but they're forthcoming. Our goal is by the end of this academic year, for those of you who work on an academic calendar, some of you don't, healthcare and others, that we will have at least 3 more series. We have designed a 4-part series. The next one after the new year will be AI in K-12 in Arizona, like current state of actual AI. What's happening in school systems, where are some of the bright spots, potentially some of the challenges. You can imagine big resourced districts can go faster in AI. We were just at the Charter Association the other day. Imagine being a single charter school in rural Arizona with no tech director, right? And like, what does that mean for AI implementation? And so we'll talk about K-12 AI usage implementation in Arizona. Then the next session, we'll actually talk about AI in higher education. What's happening in higher ed? What's that mean for community college? What's that mean for university? And what's that mean as we prepare students to go to post-secondary? And then our 4th series will just be a wrap-up. Okay, essentially, okay, now what? And as we really think about where the future is going, what might that mean for Arizona philanthropy? What might that mean for Arizona nonprofit sector? And what's that mean, to Barbara's point, for the future of teaching and learning and leadership? A few things that I want to mention this morning for those of you that have been in and around education for many years. Education, the sector, has been saying for a long time, okay, now it's time to reimagine education. Right now it's time to reinvent education. If you go back, even for some of you would remember A Nation at Risk, right? Was like, okay, now we need to do something bold and dramatic with education. And then the internet came. Like, okay, now we have to really do something dramatically different. And then laptops and devices and then phones. Okay, now it's time to dramatically reimagine education. And then COVID hit. Like, okay, now it's time to reimagine. And now AI is here again. And I think for those of us that are immersed in education and AI and where it's going in the future, the reality is that more than any other time, it's actually true. That now is unquestionably time for us collectively to be thinking about truly where does the future of school and the future of learning and the future of education really need to go. And so I want to, on behalf of the Institute, thank many of you who have been engaged in some of those broader conversations around like how do we produce high quality graduates, CFAs in the room. You'll soon hear about a playbook for school systems to really push themselves. EFA hosted an incredible event last week. Rich, thanks for all the work you're doing, kind of setting a vision and making sure that Arizona's staying focused in one direction. So you'll start to hear a lot of the organizations across Arizona more and more talk the same language, point the same direction, and really make sure that our students when they walk across the stage in Arizona, that they are truly ready for the future that exists, because the future that exists today is not one that it's going to look like in a few years from now. So let me talk about AI, and then I'll turn it over to Dr. Crompton. The reality is that as we think about the future of teaching, the future of learning, leadership, school, you cannot think about that without having AI in the same sentence. We know how, we've seen just a little bit over the last couple of years, how disruptive in good ways, potentially disruptive in not so good ways that AI can be. And so as we think about what the future means for education and our children, artificial intelligence has to be a part of that same conversation, period. It's going to radically transform the teaching profession. It'll radically transform what learning looks like. And when students enter the work and workforce, they will have to have skills that we're not currently teaching them today. It's an entirely different world. And so in order for us to get our kids prepared for that world, we first have to step back and understand what artificial intelligence is and where it's going. And that's Dr. Crompton's goal and job today. I would just say a couple final things to Barbara's point around 2 years ago, you hoped to ignore it, and now you can't. A couple months ago, I was at UC Berkeley, and at a conference, former Governor Napolitano was there, but the head of tech for UC Berkeley said AI is corn syrup, right? It's everywhere, whether you want it or not. And I thought that was a really funny but true, like literally AI is in your phone, it's in your TV, it's in your car, it's everywhere. And it is soon to be in every single industry. We were talking healthcare earlier, right? It'll be in healthcare. It'll impact housing. It'll impact medicine. It'll impact education. And so the more that we understand what it is and where it's going, the better. And then finally, I will then start to transition to Dr. Crompton. Today, the goal is we have a few objectives today, and you'll hear from Dr. Crompton. We want you to leave today feeling equipped, much more knowledgeable. What might AI do for you? What are maybe some tools that you might be able to use? I know you guys did a pre-survey, so Dr. Crompton has an idea for many of you that did that, the current state. But what does it mean for you as a person, you as a professional? What might it mean for your actual organization? And you'll also hear Dr. Crompton talk about kind of current state and future state, which is both exciting and potentially scary at the same time, as you will hear. We believe that there is really no better person across the country to talk about artificial intelligence in very practical ways. Dr. Crompton has been doing AI since before we even knew AI was a thing. When I first studied AI and found out it's been around for decades, I'm like, well, I thought that was just November 2022 when ChatGPT came out. But it's been around for a long time. Dr. Crompton's been leading it, researching it, publishing on it. She, as you see from up here, works at Old Dominion University, is an executive director for an incredible institute thinking about digital innovation. She also travels and consults all across the world for United Nations and the World Bank. Probably my most public, exciting thing that I always share about Dr. Crompton is because of how amazing she is and her reputation, Stanford University named her the top 2% scientists in the world. And so without further ado, it's my honor to introduce Dr. Helen Crompton, who's going to lead us on a few-hour journey on artificial intelligence. And we know today you'll leave more inspired and equipped to lead AI. Here you go, Dr. Crompton.
Lovely. Thank you. What a great introduction. Hello, everybody.
Good morning.
Hello. And I am so disappointed they didn't go over here, because if anything goes wrong now, I even put signs up, don't touch. If anything goes wrong, I've got no one to blame. And just note, I also do. I do both. I look for the benefit. So, how we're feeling today, we're going to cover artificial intelligence. I'm super excited. I'm very nervous. Okay, lots of excited people. I'm sure I'm going to have to shake that out to you at some point and then turn you back around the other way. No, that's all good. This is fantastic. And so When Chad was introducing me there, yes, I have been in the field of artificial intelligence for a while. In 2017, ISTE, the International Society for Technology and Education, you had done some bits with artificial intelligence, but they asked me to design what was apparently supposed to be the first course in the world to teach teachers how to use artificial intelligence. So that was 2017. And as any good educator, I developed the course and looked very, very carefully into all the questions that they could ask and looked in depth. And I said, oh dear, this is coming. This is big. That was my pivotal moment I've just got goosebumps now because I remember how I felt. I literally have. And I remember thinking, oh, this is big. So I went back to my colleagues and I said, my research is going AI. And they said, I wouldn't advise that. I don't think that's right. We all laugh about it now because they're all in it with me. But we laughed, but they said, no, I wouldn't go that way. It's computer scientists that do that, not us. I said, no, this is going to involve us all. Yet I wasn't prepared for ChatGPT to come out. I didn't realize it was going to move that fast. Over those years, though, 2019, the United Nations asked me to develop their AI framework. And what was interesting, there was just me and I got somebody else to help. So there was two of us developing the United Nations K-12 framework for how people should use AI. That's all that really seemed needed for the investment at that time, just two people. I've helped them with the subsequent ones now, and it is a big team because now it's kind of, we're in a different place. But it was interesting going through that time, seeing the changes. So today, we're going to split into 3 parts. I know it seems a long day, but I can promise you, with a good bit of confidence, it's going to move fast. You're going to be very active, hands-on. There's going to be times where we're just kind of going through what you need to know. But you are definitely going to come away from this today with lots of tools, and I'm not tool-centric. It's going to be very focused on what you can do with them. But you're going to look for practical ways as well as practical ways of what you need to watch for and avoid. So we're going to hopefully put you in a good place. We're going to start with the state of the field, then technologies and applications, and then we're going to have a little bit at the end going forward what you just need to know. So, first things first, state of the field. So here's a question I asked yesterday as well, and I know there's a few people in here. So, go before ChatGPT, November 2022. Who used artificial intelligence? Okay. So since, who's used artificial intelligence since ChatGPT came out? Okay. Let me just have a look one more time. Okay, that was pretty much everybody. Okay. You've all been using artificial intelligence for absolutely years. Years. All that's happened is it was in the back end of systems. You didn't realize you were actually directly working with it. It was just making programs better. Who's used Google search? You've all used artificial intelligence then since 1998. When it first came out, they had a form of artificial intelligence. Since then, they added in RankBrain and BERT, all these funny names for artificial intelligence that just made things better. Translate, so much better. I said the story yesterday. So another part to know is very important. I was a K-12 teacher also for 16 years, 13 in England, my home country, and then 3 years in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. And during that time, I like to explore tools and see what there is. And I got onto Google Translate, and I was very pleased with myself. I developed a letter to go home to the parents in Spanish. Someone looked, and can you guess what they did? They laughed. They thought it was hilarious. They said, oh, you don't want to send that out. That's not what you wanted to be saying. But now we're in a different place. We can put Google Translate on the table. We can press a button and we can have literally live conversations, just as if a translator was there. It just translate. Going even further, there are tools out now that you can put a little device in your ear and you don't have to as much wait. It will literally translate it in real time and you can have more of an even automatic conversation. They are moving out at the moment. They're going to be coming in a lot, excuse me, a lot quicker. We're dealing automatically with AI. These tools, ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, all these many ones, we know we're interacting directly. And we can do very exciting things, such as, this is ChatGPT, and I'm asking it, just give me 5 strategies for writing a great paper. Just kind of nice and simple. I set it on its way, and it will do just that. Anyone remember the first time they put a prompt into these programs and it was kind of, oh, wow, it can do that. So that's kind of magical. A little bit old now because we've kind of got used to that. But let's position this where we are in history. So in information history, we've had 3 pivotal moments in our history. Just think about times where information got out to the world. Sorry, my voice is going. I'm going to turn these off in a second. What would be the first one? When information got out to the world? Oh, who was that? Printing press. Yes, that even made my throat go back normal. That was wonderful. Thank you. So the printing press. Then the internet and ChatGPT. Now let's just think about those things. Printing press, great. I mean, we've got libraries now full of books, full of information. It's not just people with a lot of money or people in a high up place in religion. They were the ones that had books before, information. Now we all have books. The internet, it was very scary when it first started. Who remembers that? Yeah, who felt like they couldn't trust it when it first came out? Yes, it was kind of, that's very scary. Who banks with it now? Yeah, you trust it completely. It was a very scary point. It was a point where information could be sought on anything. Students, I think one of the reasons why, I might be saying jokingly, but one of the reasons why schools ban mobile devices is it could fact check whether the instructor, the teacher was saying the right thing. It's kind of, no, my phone says this. So we're in a different time there, but then generative AI. COVID, a little while ago, changed a lot of what we did. But even after we thought, yeah, it's changed things for good. You know, what jobs people are doing, jobs people are wanting to do. But now, do you see, a lot of it's just come back to the way it was before. We thought it wouldn't, but it did. AI, it's not going to go back. And it's going to get a lot further, as we'll see today. Hopefully in a lot of good ways, but that's all going to go on us. I get a lot of reports saying, it's great, you're talking about AI, but it's plateaued. It's done its bit. Does this look like it's plateaued? I know that's a lot of information, but just look at those lines that just keep going up. So basically what this is intelligence. All those indicators, you know, those humanities last exam, live code bench, they're all measures of intelligence. And you can see there the different colors for the different companies. So the black one at the top, that's OpenAI that have ChatGPT. And you can see there, it's going up. And I'm going to tell you some things today that you'll see it's just going to go up again in huge leaps. In fact, I'm estimating soon we're going to have, you see that big leap, September 24? We're going to have at least one more in the next year of that, at least. Take a look at this. This is kind of a problem. A philanthropic foundation has been invited to join a partnership with a major technology company to improve digital access in low-income schools. Here's all the details. There's lots of money there. There's arguments about the partnership could accelerate equity and all sorts of things here. But then the question, you know, these are kind of questions that we have to deal with. What do we do? Do we go with it? Do we not go with it? This is just an example. So let's take a look at what ChatGPT would do with it. And let's run it. I just literally copied and pasted it all in. And let's see. What it's going to do, first of all, it's going to say, oh, I'm thinking, which is weird because we think. This is a computer thinking, but it's thinking. And then look, executive answer, and I'm going to let you have a read of that as it comes up. And I know it's going fast, but take a look at that. And that is fast, isn't it? I mean, this is real time. This is as fast as it does. Thinking and all those points. If you've got even just a little point there, what do you think? Was that good? That is very helpful. As I will always say, it should never make decisions, ever. Humans make decisions, but if you've got a partner like this that's helping you think, that's helpful. Yes.
So a year ago, if you asked the same question in the same way, would you have gotten as much detail, or would you have had to ask additional questions? It seems to me, I'm trying to figure out what is the jump that's happening over time. And this seems to me really comprehensive for a pretty simple set of 2 questions.
That, and I've not set him up here, by the way, that is a perfect question for here. I'm going to show you what's changed. Are you ready for it?
Let's see.
This is what's changed. Instead of these purple ones are reasoning models, what you've just seen. These blue are the ones that are just kind of pulling. When you saw the very first quick screencast of it answering the first, 5 ways to write, that was just pulling, like from a library, pulling in information. These, perfect question, are what's called reasoning models. In other words, they're not just pulling from information, they are kind of thinking. This is an old diagram. This is what it looks like today. All those reasoning ones, and then you've just got a few at the end. But I like to tell people that it's great that can reason, but have you ever heard the term of overthinking things? It can do that. There's a great video, I don't know if you've ever seen it, where it's got cows in England and they're walking across the street. But where it gets to the line in between, the cows are kind of jumping over and all the rest of them are they're overthinking it. This is what it does. It sometimes overthinks. So we've got to be careful of that. But again, every day it's getting better and better. I do like the fact, though, that it can sometimes go from the just pulling model. What's happening, actually, if you went into like ChatGPT, and if you ask a basic question, it won't engage that reasoning portion. it will go back to the other model of just pulling from the library. So that's helpful.
That's my typical free model that I use. It won't.
This is your free model. And that is, seriously, you should come sit here with me or something. This is perfect. Everything I show you, you might see it saying Pro, because I have to know everything it can do. And I get that usually from the companies. But it's all free. What will happen is you'll only get so much sometimes. Like you'll run one thing and it'll say, okay, you've met your limit for the day. But everything I show you will be free that you'll be able to see. So that is an exciting part. And yes, your free models are all reasoning. Okay. These are the companies that are all now competing to be the most intelligent. Like I was asked, somebody asked me already since I've come in, what's your model? What do you choose to use? I swap all the time, depending on what the activity is and what week it is, because they're all doing so well and they're so intelligent, but they're all competing. What do you notice about all these companies but one? Okay, I'll ask that a different way. What is the odd one out on here? Which one, sorry? Elon?
DeepSeek.
No. Yeah, but why did you say Elon?
Well, first of all, he's a person.
Yes, and it's kind of like the company name in a way. It is. DeepSeek? Why DeepSeek?
Because it's not based in the US.
There we go. Not based in the US. Yes. So this competition was all people, companies, not people, but kind of people, in the US. And then DeepSeek came out with theirs, which now put the competition across countries. Here is the Intelligent Index. Basically, what this is showing us is, again, the most intelligent tool at this point. This, again, was just taken off 3 days ago. And you can see on the far left, GPT's 5. So this is the black is OpenAI. You can see kind of like the little icons. And then all the way, you've got like the Google icon down there, different ones. Even on the OpenAI ones, you can see the different models appearing. But this is a very well used one. Basically, there's 10 ways of understanding intelligence. And this is where it places on there. And this, I have to keep downloading the next one because it keeps changing. So what is this? Yes, question.
Is Copilot just that bad? Or is it...
Oh, question, Copilot, not on there.
Helen, she wants me to repeat it for this. Is Copilot just not listed because it's that far behind?
That's an interesting one. Copilot is using some of these things. Like Llama, you won't normally see on things, but Llama is running behind it. So it doesn't always, yeah. Copilot's doing some good stuff, but it's not listed otherwise on here. Another one is Perplexity. But I think they're using some of the other things behind here. There's a lot on here that I actually don't even recognize. I recognized everything up until about 2 weeks ago. And then it was kind of, who's that? Funny enough, I always recognized this one, Mistral, because out of all those companies I just showed you, they were all the ones that were making these programs. But Mistral is French, and they had one. It was very, very small, not in competition really, but it's good to see them on there still. Yeah. Oh,
The source of it.
artificial analysis. So,
A think tank, a nonprofit,
and I don't think that microphone's on, is it? Say again.
what can you tell us what artificial analysis, what?
Oh, okay. So artificial analysis is an organization that looks at artificial intelligence. It's often on the kind of more computer science role, but these it's basically just pulled in all this information. So all these, like GP, QA, Diamond, and Psycode, they're all separate ways of telling how intelligent it is. So what they've done is they've pulled all those together for all those. So all these companies always report where they stand on all these things, and there's people checking. But this is a good one to know because they actually have all sorts of things on that site where they've pulled it all together. So artificial analysis. So the big thing here is AI's getting really intelligent. We have always been the most intelligent species on the planet. We're about to be number 2. Just to repeat that, we're about to be number 2. Question is, we're all racing ahead. Who knows, who can tell me something negative about AI? I can. Everyone else can? Why are we rushing ahead? Is there a reason for it? What I'd like you to do now at your tables, just think about where we are. Why are we rushing ahead with this? It's getting very intelligent, going to be more intelligent than us. Why are we rushing? So I'm going to give you just a few minutes to think about that. Okay, welcome back. Who can tell us the burning question, why are we rushing ahead when we know there's all these things that we have to avoid? Anyone want to? Yes, please.
Money.
Money? Okay. Money for who?
For the winner.
For the winner, which could be a company. Those names, yeah? Yes.
More efficiency, more productivity with less work, making the user more money because time is money. So if I'm able to get more things done in a quicker period of time, I can utilize it. It's not so much me making open AI money. But if I can produce more grants in a shorter period of time, I can apply for more. I can receive more funding.
Yes.
Competitive advantage.
Yes. Yes.
We have one over here, Dr.
Yes. Competitive advantage, just in case you didn't hear that one. Sorry.
One of the things that we talked about at our table was the military and almost like an arms race when it comes to artificial intelligence and sort of this power and how we're militarizing this particular tool and sort of the current climate. I mean, it's always been, this particular way when it comes to an arms race, but how are we potentially using AI in that capacity?
And there was another hand here. Yes.
I think this sort of builds off of competitive advantage, but we talked about just like a feeling of an existential threat. If you don't figure out how to use it, then you may become irrelevant and your company will cease to exist.
You are all absolutely right for all of those things. What's happening is there's a major competition to get to artificial general intelligence, which means artificial intelligence that can do all of these things better than humans. Now, when I showed you the slide before, you noticed they were all in the US, except for one. That competition was all in the US. Then DeepSeek came from China. It was countries. And it's exactly that countries, whatever country gets to AGI first, it's going to excel the defense, it's going to excel the productivity, what they're able to do for medical things, it's going to excel everything. If you think about it, you have more intelligence, it just duplicates everywhere. It's massive, the way that these countries are going to get ahead. So the country that gets there first, And it's funny because I was thinking about this before any of this political climate we're in now. It's even more scary now that there's countries like my home country, the UK. The governments understand, they say, we do have to limit these things. We have to be careful, limit the negative side, but we have to push across and explore some new things to be able to make sure we get into this place. The interesting part is, last time I was in Arizona was, what was it, Leanne? Was it April? April the 30th. We spoke about this. Many believe we're actually there kind of now with some of these tools. Many people really believe it. There's so much that we've now got a new one, which is artificial superintelligence. They've kind of like just moved the goalposts. But many of these programs now are behaving and being able to answer questions better than PhD humans. So we're in a very fast-moving pace. Did that make sense to everybody why these countries are having to push forward? It means that you're not going to be able to take care of your country, but also the people in it being, like the healthcare, the business, the money, everything. It's connected to so many things. Now, let's put it into perspective a different way. It's like an assistant. I think we've all experienced that, just like an assistant. But what can an assistant, your human assistant, do that AI cannot do? Anyone think of anything? Okay, it can't make you a coffee in the morning, okay? Well, yet. Yes? Empathize, great. What else? Empathize, do people get that? It can't empathize? Doesn't have feelings? Anything else? Okay, here are the things. Oh, there we go. I actually have a Slido for you on this one. But empathize, we don't actually have to use it at the moment if you're feeling good. Is there anything else? Okay, this is what people typically have. Intelligence, yeah, it's kind of shallow across. No, it's all the way across and it's all the way deep. Creative, yes, it can be creative. It can create all sorts of new things. We can get into that as well later. Empathic, that's a big one. Take a look at this program. This is Hume. And I'm going to talk on this program to Hume, and it's going to try and work out my feelings. So as I'm talking, and you'll hear it's a recording, as I'm talking, it'll have what I've spoken about, and then at the end of it, it'll say my feelings, what it hears from me. So first thing first, I'm going to talk to them. I'm going to choose a voice. So I've just got some things there. I'm choosing Finn. I can choose a model. You can see actually, this is a while ago. I'll explain why once we're done. But I'm on the 4.0 a while ago. This isn't late.
Hello. Hey, I hear a bit of uncertainty. What's on your mind?
I'm just preparing for a conference tomorrow.
That makes sense. I can tell you're pretty calm about it. Is there anything specific you're getting ready for?
I'm about to do a keynote on artificial intelligence.
Oh, wow. Delivering a keynote sounds exciting and a bit daunting. What's the main idea? You're planning to share about artificial intelligence?
Well, I thought I'd show tools like you and how you understand feelings.
That's a fascinating topic. Slipping into the nuances of how AI can interpret and respond to emotions could really capture their interest. Are you planning any demonstrations or examples to showcase this?
Well, I'm actually recording this conversation now.
Oh, I'm a part of the show. Huh? That's pretty cool. Let me know if there's anything specific you'd like me to showcase during our chat.
Empathy. It can even work out if you're crying of laughter or happiness or sadness. It can look very carefully, but does it have empathy? No. It has no empathy towards us whatsoever. It has no anger, happiness, sadness, whatever. It's mimicking. It's looking and it's going, oh, okay, that person's happy. That person's sad. I'm having a great day. That person's being sarcastic. It can work out sarcasm. It can work out all of these things. And Hume is what goes behind all the programs. And I recorded this a little while ago and I can't get it again because all those people that do that kind of thing are done with it now. It's kind of, yeah, we know that it's there and we're moving on. So it doesn't let us demo it quite the same anymore, but it's certainly there, being able to understand. If you think about it, when you type in chat, you can explain things then and it'll be working out feelings. But again, I always say all brain and no heart. So it's all thinking about, oh, what does that person telling us by the voice, the intonation, everything, but it has no feelings. So how many people are out there using this? I just found this interesting, so I wanted to include this. So ChatGPT users, December 22, we're kind of down here, and you can see it kind of moving up. This is December. This is towards the end of the year, December 24. Can you guess the way it's going to go? There we go. 800 million users. That's just one regular users, not just one-time users. There's a lot of people using this. So I'm guessing you might be one of those users of one of these tools. So how are you using these products for at the moment, these AI tools? So if you can scan, just on this one, it's nice to be able to see. Tell us what you're using it for. And I've set it as anonymous, so it's not going to show what you're going to be using it for. Who you are. There we go, there's the first one. Everything. Just learning, search engine, trip planning. Oh, I use it for trip planning all the time. Draft Word documents, copywriting, editing, summaries. Educational apps for my kids. Interesting one. Improve my writing, emails. Yeah, who's using it for emails? Gosh. Make my dog look like a human. I need to find out who that is after. That's a great one. Grants and research, meal planning, exercise routines. Yes. Comparisons, draft policies. Photo generation. Translations, copy editing, email always comes up. Everything work and home. Meals based on what's in my fridge. That is a great one. Thought partner. Yes. Okay, so we've got some ideas of how people are using this. Here's the recent statistics. I think it came out a couple of weeks ago, saying generally how people are using these tools. So there's a lot of information there. The wider it is, the larger it's used. Let me pull that down. These are the two big ones, writing and practical guidance. The very top is the pink, edit or critique provided text. But then if you look, that's 10.6%, and there's 10.2% tutoring or teaching, which is great. I saw some of those things on there that connect with this. How to advise, health, fitness, beauty. This is the next one, specific info on something, cooking and recipes. Yeah, I think we've all used it for that. And then here's the full again, where you can see everyone what they're using it for. Okay, here's a question for you. Everything I've told you so far, I'm going to let you have a conversation with your table just for literally 3 minutes. Did anything surprise you out of everything I've told you so far? And then think of another question of the teams that you work with. Did they realize all that I've just told you so far? So just 3 minutes just to put that in your brain, just assimilate it, kind of work through. Do you know that? And do your teams know that? So hopefully you've had a good discussion. Now that was time for just you to kind of go through what you've just taken in about where we are. Does anyone want to make a comment before we move on? Do all your teams realize where we are? Okay. Okay, let's move on. So I've covered where we are, as in who's using these, how much they're using it, and so on. Let's have a look at the technology. This is just a quick taster, and then we're going to go into it further with more specific programs. But the big thing is, remember at the beginning I was saying AI has been around for a long while? I actually did lots of keynotes before on artificial intelligence, and it had loads of benefits that it could give. Like, I focused on education, and intelligent tutoring systems and all these things are doing a great job. Like if you went for a test, you know how the test works out where you are and, oh, let me give a harder question or an easier question. That's all AI. So it was doing a lot. We even had generative AI. I actually made a video years ago, I think it was about 2018, of me dancing. I'll have to find it at some point. Just to point out, I can't dance whatsoever. I think it's a British thing, we just can't dance. But I look really cool on this video because all I did is I showed it my face, all aspects, I showed it my body, and then it literally did a video of me looking like I could dance. That was ages ago. So that's generative AI in that it generated it. I mean, we're in a very different place now with the generative AI tools, but look where they sit. In the very small piece in the middle, we have a lot more artificial intelligence things doing all sorts of things. Large one is predicting. We can look at students that are, looking at dropouts or predicting grades, predicting stock market things, predicting all sorts of things. Machine learning and deep learning are then subcategories of that. Generative AI is a smaller category under the whole thing. So just let's remember that it's not just all Gen AI. But these tools here, we have ChatGPT, we have Perplexity, there's also Copilot, but then there's Claude. There's all sorts of things there. Quick note. So top left, ChatGPT. When it first started, it was doing great. And then there was a group of people that said, oh, you're not being transparent. Not really happy about this. They went off and made a new company called Anthropic. So it's not been going for that long. They developed Claude, earned a fortune. Startups, this is perfect for startups at the moment because they are excelling way beyond with artificial intelligence. But Claude here has a lot of people that wanted to focus on transparency, so they are more transparent than the other programs. They'll say what they're doing, how the data's kept, how the process runs, and so that's worth knowing. A lot of K-12 schools actually often go with Claude. Ability-wise, they're all kind of about the same, really. We saw the chart earlier on, but they're usually about the same. So we've all used these tools for help with emails. As we'll see today, they can do so much more. They may look the same, but when you type in what you want it to do, they're able to do a lot more. These tools, they do text. Some of them do images. Claude is terrible at doing images, but the other do images, and they can do a lot of other things. But there are AI tools that do also more just a set of things or just one thing. Like here on the right side, AI video generator. Sora is a paid one, but Vidoo next to it is not. I use Vidoo for some of my things, and they do just short videos. Udio underneath generates music. We're going to explore another one today of those. And then on the left, Deep Dream Generator Images, Notebook LM does a few things that we're going to explore. But they focus, and they do a really good job because they focus on just a set amount of tasks rather than lots. We're also going to touch on agents today. Very minimal, but like I said, we've got to look for the future because the future could be next week. Agents is where we're going to see that leap go up again. Agents, basically, in a quick overview, super fast overview, is where we're going to say to AI, okay, go onto this website. In fact, browse for this website, find it, go onto LinkedIn, send an email, do this, and it will go and do it for us. That is here now. And I'll show a demo later on. It's not working perfectly at the moment, but it soon will. Again, the competition, I'll explain the competition where we are at the moment, but we're going to be using these, all of us, in the future. So agents, have you heard of them? Agentic and things like that. Technologies and applications. Okay, so when we cover this section now, this is an exciting section, we have to deal with misuses and limitations. You have to understand that before we go on to how to use it, because then you know how to use it nice and safely. I want you to discuss, and in a minute, what you're going to do as a table is you're also going to put on here what your thoughts are. In fact, I'll leave this one up. So as a table, tell me currently, what do we have to deal with? What are the misuses and limitations? Okay, we're going to have just a few minutes on this. Probably, in fact, another 3 or 4, depending on how long people need. Oh, look at that. I've just turned around. Plagiarism. Okay, another 30 seconds, please, but anything else? Oh, it could be 10 seconds. You're all looking like you're nearly ready. Just put any last bits on. Plagiarism. Fraud, intentional manipulation, hallucinations. Yeah. Okay, welcome back. So, plagiarism comes out as a big one. My only issue is, it's not that issue, but what do you mean by plagiarism? Can anyone give me, because I could go different ways. Are you on about the AI using copyright material? Or are you focused on people using AI and saying, I wrote this? That one? Yes, okay. Kind of like, I often call it cheating as well. But cheating's been around for ages. I mean, if we think about it, who remembers writing on the hand before a test? Go on, own up to it. Who's done it? Anybody? I holding my hand up. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. You didn't, Chad, did you? Chad! Chad just had his hand up. I'm sorry, I'm just... So, yes, we are going to cover all these because from the research, this is what I've brought out. Cheating, cognitive offloading, inaccuracies, hallucinations, bias, cognitive steering. Don't worry, I'll explain all these in a minute. Malicious use, and data privacy. Okay. Cheating, cognitive offloading. Let's look. This is a hard one. It's got multiple different directions. Yes, people can pass off things, and it is really hard to detect. You have all these programs like Turnitin said, no problem, 98% we can tell you whether it was AI that wrote it or whether it was a person. All that they had to do was put a few spelling mistakes in. So like students in school, download it, put a few spelling mistakes in, they run it through the system and AI says, we don't make spelling mistakes. That must be human. Also, the students could go into AI and say, write this as a 5th grader. There's lots of things that as soon as we find ways of kind of detecting, students and adults are really good at figuring out. When ChatGPT first came out, and I was working on teaching all sorts of people from students to professors, who were the biggest cheaters? You all guessed it, professors. And they might not have been doing it more than the students. I just might have noticed it more because they're really bad at cheating. You know, like you remember when you used to do ChatGPT and you get the box that came in? They give me the whole box and everything. But this is always going to happen. But we have to kind of rethink in schools. I know many of you are in education. In schools, we have to rethink what assessment looks like. And then cognitive offloading. Now, I have to say, cognitive offloading can be a fabulous thing. It can be a negative thing. I'm writing a lot at the moment about pedagogical debt and cognitive debt. And where that comes from is there's computer sciences have something what's called technological debt, where what they'll do is they will put out programs and they'll do something that works really nicely now, but you know in the long run it's not going to be good. This is the same. We can get things and we can do things so easily now. Oh, it saves so much time. It's great. But in the long run, we're going to get our debt. We could have a whole generation of people that don't know what they're doing. There's a great video, I have it on my computer, I should show it at some point, where it's got a man ready for surgery lying there, and the surgeon comes up and pulls his mask back and kind of goes, ah. And that was his friend in college that cheated on the test. And it's kind of, oh, you don't know what you're doing. Oh dear. But this is where we're at. But again, cognitive offloading can be a very positive thing, that it can offload things that we can offload safely. You know, like we know how to do something. I'll tell you where I use it. I do a lot of presentations. I ask it to give me presentation titles. I'm very fussy. So I'll ask for 10, then I'll ask for another 10, and I'll go through them. But it's kind of, it can take me a long time sometimes to figure out just a title. I don't need to do that. I've done so many, and I'll still do it myself just to keep that skill up, but I will offload. Inaccuracies and hallucinations, these are so fun. Not if you believe them, though. Take a look at this. Please don't believe it. And when you're having lunch, just watch out. According to UC Berkeley geologists, people should eat at least one small rock a day. Rocks can contain vitamins and minerals. We can see where it's gone wrong. And my favorite bit there is some recommend eating a serving of pebbles geodes or gravel with each meal, or hiding rocks in foods like peanut butter or ice cream. What's for lunch today, by the way? Be careful. You're all going to be kind of mashing it with your fork now just to check. But we can see where it's gone wrong. This one, I think this is possibly my favorite. Running with scissors is a cardio exercise that can increase your heart rate and require concentration and focus. It's actually completely true. I would be very focused running with scissors. Some say it can also improve your pause and give you strength. And you can see at the bottom there, little old lady comedy. This is where it didn't get a joke. This is an older one. I have to warn you. Now it can pick up sarcasm and all sorts, but it still makes mistakes. Where it makes the biggest mistakes is in research. Take a look at this. According to 2018 study published, parachutes are no more effective than backpacks at preventing death or injury when jumping from an aircraft. Who'd rather wear a parachute? This is where it goes wrong. It goes wrong in research. What's happened is, I'll tell you a story and I'll tell you why this actually is correct. So in research, it hasn't got that information because research is all behind databases that it doesn't have access to. So it doesn't understand what a research paper as much as look like. It has access to the open access ones, but not the whole body of research. And what it does, it generalizes. Oh, that must be the same for everything. This was actually a true study. This is a real study. The big thing that it's missed out is it's a very low altitude. So yes, it doesn't really matter if you've got a parachute because it probably wouldn't have time to open. So it wouldn't be more different really than a backpack. So we've got to be careful about it generalizing. Bias, cognitive steering. So when we first use these tools, it fed from lots of very historical information from the web. And looking at historical things, it doesn't reflect where we are today. Things like, I'll give you an example. In Translate, Google Translate, if you put into Turkish, the gender-neutral language, if you put in, she's a doctor, he's a babysitter, when it came back, so you put it into Turkish, translate it from Turkish back to English, what did it say? She is a babysitter, he is a doctor, because historically that was more common. So they fixed that, we're in a new place, but we still have bias. We have the companies that develop these, they have their bias. If you ask about political things, it will choose what to direct you to or what to say. If you ask it about artificial intelligence, it is super positive. Like the titles, I have to say, be unbiased and help with these titles, because otherwise it'll be superpower AI, the phenomenon, it's kind of, and it is. Ask it about itself, ask it to explain about AI, and it's super positive. Cognitive steering is what I call, I kind of named it that, is where AI, and again, it doesn't have any feelings, it doesn't choose to do things, but a person intentionally said, it was set up for a study, intentionally said, change people's political views. AI could do it. How long did you think, how many conversations did you think it took? How long time-wise would it make to make someone change a complete different political view? How long do you think? Show me, what do you think? 2? Oh, okay, you're going way beyond, but that's great. 10 minutes. And under 10 minutes, just under 10 minutes, they could change people's political views. So, as we'll see, these can get in the hands of bad actors. We have to be careful making sure we are not going to be steered, or young children. Here's one I got a lot from the surveys. People were very nervous saying, what about malicious use? What do we do? How do we detect? I will say it is getting so much harder. I usually have like little go-to things like videos, watch for the reflection of the light hitting the eyeballs. It should reflect in the same place on the eyeball. But whilst these things are out there, the AI people are going, oh, we're going to make a fake and we're going to make it hit the same place. So that doesn't always work. On some basic ones, it does. The more advanced, it doesn't. We have to all develop, which you are doing today, good AI literacy skills, knowing what it can do, what we have to avoid, those type of things. And when we go into the tools and what it can do, you're going to learn more about what it can do and how people can use them in different ways. It is a little bit scary. There's all sorts here. I will say, here's my quick tips, is one, always have a code word with family. Just choose a code word. And then when you think there's family on the phone saying, oh, I need my bank details, and it sounds like your son, your daughter, whoever, you'll say, okay, what's the code word? So use that. The other one is always look at where it's come from. Check the phone number and check the email, although again, it's getting better at doing these and actually can use people's original emails. And then the other one is a real giveaway is we need this money and we need it fast. It's an emergency. You need to do it quick. I actually got one last week. I live in Norfolk, Virginia, and I want to build an addition. And I submitted something to Norfolk and said, here's my details. This is what I'd like. And I got an email with all the Norfolk logos saying, okay, we're accepting this. You're approved, but you have to send 4,000 within the next 24 hours to this wire. It looks so genuine. But then it was kind of, oh, you want it within 24 hours and it's got to go here? That's the absolute giveaway. Again, phone calls, they're getting a lot harder. At the same time, please don't be super nervous. You have to build a healthy skepticism to look at everything and go, is it real? But like I said, the big giveaway is the emergency. You have to do it fast. I always bank things and everything. I always call the actual people because I can't tell often. So on the ones I can't tell, I just delete them and call the actual companies, the bank, whatever. Now, AI is doing some really bad things with people, but these are very clever systems. And why don't we use them to get back at the people doing the wrong stuff? Meet Daisy. Would you like to meet Daisy?
Yes. Lovely.
Are you ready for Daisy? This is artificial intelligence, and you'll hear the term, it's by a company, O2. O2 it's like T-Mobile in the UK. Are you ready? Oh, come on, I want a bit more. Are you ready? Okay. Oh, no, we'll skip and we'll watch it later. Okay, it's not letting me do bigger, I'm afraid.
7 in 10 Brits have been targeted by scammers. And it's not just our grandparents. I was one of them. But this film isn't about getting scammed. This is about getting even. Meet my friend, Daisy.
Hello, scammers. I'm your worst nightmare. I'm an AI created by O2 to waste phone scammers' time. So, W is then a dot.
3 times W and then dot.
I think your profession is bothering people, right?
I'm just trying to have a little chat. It's nearly been an hour. For the love of... Gosh, how time flies. It's showing me a picture of my cat, Fluffy.
It's showing you the picture of your cat, Fluffy.
Stop calling me dear, you stupid... Got it, dear. Because while they're busy talking to me, they can't be scamming you. And let's face it, dear, I've got all the time in the world.
So whilst you're out enjoying life, Daisy and O2 are here fighting scammers, taking calls and wasting hundreds and hundreds of hours of scammers' time. If you want to help Daisy and O2 and ruin a scammer's day, you can report scam numbers to 7726. Because you can't do it all on your own, can you, Daisy?
Who says I am, love? Speak soon, scammers.
If I feel sad sometime, I watch that because it's hilarious. I actually do. That's really sad. Data privacy. Here's a question. When you think of data privacy, what do you think about? Just talk at your table in literally 1 minute. First thing that comes to your mind, data privacy. Whose data privacy? What is it? And I'll fix over here. Okay, data privacy. So whose data privacy were you thinking about? Okay, I'm going to come over here. Whose data privacy do you think about?
Well, since we deal a lot with public schools and all of that, the fear would be especially students and minors' privacy getting out there to the public.
Yeah. So students, that's a huge one. Because think about it, these programs are very helpful, very listening all the time. You know, I can talk to you anytime. I can tell you all sorts of stuff. You don't judge. And students can give too much information. That's where we have to be careful of. Like, look at Daisy. She was a lovely little old woman. Had a funny accent, like me. But she's not real. So we have to explain to students, young children, have them seeing the difference and have them understanding that these really don't actually care for you. They don't not care for you, but they don't have feelings. This is where, when you've had the big media coverage of things happening to younger children, it's often that they trusted and they really believed there were different people and things like that when they weren't. So we have to be careful with data privacy and what we're putting in information-wise. And we're going to go into that. So young students, what else did you think about? Data privacy? Yes.
Before, I don't think people always understand the difference between like the paid, reading the terms of service, right? A paid service versus a free service. And when we're using AI, like what are the terms of service that you're using and what you're putting in? Is it part of their training? Is it not part of the training? Is like, especially for organizational data, like private data or contracts or whatever.
Yes, very interesting one. And we're literally about to touch on more of this as well. Yes, and I'll give you another story as well. A lot of companies are going for the closed systems, and they're great, but you have to still know what to do with them. There was a lot of companies that were having these closed systems, and it meant the information stayed in the company. But the only problem was they had people like the cleaners being able to see the emails of the boss and everybody else. You know, it just literally shared it to everybody in the company. So you have to be watching out for these. And like you said, looking at those legal documents and finding out, even to, I'm going to jump here to young children using these. ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, Perplexity should not legally be used with children under the age of 13. And actually, it's everyone under the age of 21, so 13 to 21, they can be used, but it's a responsibility of a parent or guardian, like the schools, that have the legal responsibility. So that's worth noting. But privacy. No one actually said anything about themselves, which I knew you wouldn't. That's why I put it up. What about you? What about, are you all using these tools? What does it know about you? And in a minute, so don't type in anything yet. You can be going on your computers, and I'm going to give you a chance to do this, but it knows all sorts about me. I have the Aura ring, the AI ring, and it can tell you all about my heart rate, everything. But I've done here, what do you know about me in my personal life? I set it off going. And I did this just the other day. You'll be able to see because you'll see Helios on here. And it tells a bit about me. There we go. What I find funny is when you do it, don't just say your professional life. Say, what do you know about me? And you'll be very surprised what it knows. Sometimes I can't understand how it picks up some of the things it does. But again, the connected network tells it all sorts. What we're going to do, this is going to be kind of our first activity. We're going to be looking at memory and preferences. So this isn't as exciting as you're not going to kind of come out with a product at the end of this one, but this is important. It's telling the AI what you like. And so here on ChatGPT, we can see here how to do it, and I'll tell you why again it's important. But I'm going to go to settings, personalization there, but I'm going to go to, oh, I'm sorry, this is actually data controls. This is keeping your privacy. Let me rewind that one more time. You also have, and say thank you very much. You have handouts that explain how to do this. Can I pass them over to, thank you. So these handouts will tell you for most of the programs, if there's a program on there that you don't use, it has them all. So there's two pieces on here that I want to tell you. I've jumped into the settings. This is going to show you privacy. Privacy is very important. Most tools are not private. If you have Copilot and things like that, Copilots are within your, and try and keep watching for a second because I know it's so tempting to do it now, but I'm going to literally let you have time to do all this. So if you have Copilots and things like that, they are closed systems. But that means everybody or those that watch over it in your company can see what's happening. Okay, so please don't worry about these sheets for a minute. I probably should have given them after. But I feel like I've lost you all now while you're all looking at the sheets. Keep focused just for a minute because then, like I said, you're going to be able to actually do all this. So closed systems, people in your institution can see the stuff. That's what that means, but people outside can't. There's many other programs, Gemini and things like that, that say we'll keep it private for so long and things, and it doesn't look very private. The only one that I can see at the moment, and I'm not stuck on any, I like to go across them all, is ChatGPT. ChatGPT allows you to be able to go to your picture, you go to settings, and we go to data controls, it's on your sheets, and then at the top, improve the model for everyone. Say no. I'm sorry, I don't. So you turn it off, and that's private. I'm going to go back and let you just see that, how fast it is. You just go to your icon moves all over every time they change it, but it's usually bottom left. Settings. I'm showing you personalization because we're going to investigate that in a second, but data controls, and then that top one, turn off. If you have it through your company, you possibly have it turned off already, which is great. Okay, so anyone using it, maybe you've got a personal account, you might want to turn it off. Again, it's your choice entirely. So that's one thing you're going to be able to do in a few minutes. Another thing I want to show you before you go off is those preferences. I think that's showing the same thing here, that next one. So like Gemini here, I can go into Gemini, I can go connected apps, and then I can go to settings to tell it what I want. I have to say with Gemini, and I'll put it on your sheet, do be slightly careful because Gemini, part of Google, is connected to all sorts. So when you're doing your settings, it might not just do it for Gemini, it might do it for them all. But you've got it on the sheet if you do need it. But ChatGPT users, I'm going to show you back to that one. Okay, back one more. Okay, here it is. I'm going to show you here how to now tell it what you want it to know about how you like to operate. So picture it this way. I have a new assistant. Okay, new assistant. I'm feeling very important. I would like you to call me Your Majesty. I don't like when you say so don't ever say Don't use the word delve either. I don't like that. That's a big AI one. And I like tables. So if I say table, just when you give me the information, make sure it's a table. Okay? You can do that with AI. Oh, it's not going to let us see it here. Okay, let's see if it's going to let us do it. There it is. Either this is the privacy one or this is the one that's going to show you settings. But it's there, same place, settings. There it is, personalization. And there it is, the custom instructions. So settings. So you put a little icon, settings, and then go to custom instructions. You can see there actually, what I do is I do /TB. That's my shortcut for my assistant to say I want it as a table. You can also have lots of fun, like the other one underneath there. I actually have a good few. I say /GR, and then I ask it to do something, and it knows, because that's our code, to say I want you to write it in Greek. Now, that /GR is not a special code or anything. It's just one I've made up. It's something I don't normally type. So I can make anything up, like make it fun. I might make a new little code. I might have /F for fun. And if you see /F, you know I want you to make whatever it is fun. Does that make sense? So you're telling it whatever you want in here. Go ahead.
Second one, that dash.
Oh, the
I
dash.
just heard an article that it's overused by AI.
Oh yeah.
Right? People are using it as a trigger, right?
Yes. The worst thing is, did you all hear that? Yeah, the dash, the line, is used all the time by AI. The worst thing is, it's here. I'm saying I don't want it to use it, but it still uses it sometimes. So it's just one of those things. It is a place that we can put things, but currently it doesn't always follow what we want, so we have to remind it. Another way to put things in here as well is, if you want the easier version, you could just go into whatever your program is and say, set this to memory, however you want to say it. Commit this to memory. I want you to always do this. You can just do that. And you'll see it'll say save to memory. So it'll know. So I don't have it calling me anything particular because I like to do lots of demonstrations. And if you see Your Majesty over everything, it'll be weird. But go ahead now. I want to give you time to make, if you use ChatGPT, in any way, you might want to make it private. And if you want to go into your settings now of what you want, think about what you want to say to your assistant. Okay, with conversations with people, I want to mention two big things. One, on privacy. Your privacy is important. However, well, I'll wait for a couple of people to come back. I think they'll go everyone. Privacy is important, but at the same time, having things people know about you can be helpful. Give you an example. Cafe Stella is in Norfolk. I call it my extra office. I love to go in there and work. The only thing is, I don't like coffee. I like tea. I like a certain teacup. You can picture it about me, can't you? I like a certain teacup. I like a certain type of tea. I don't like the tea bags being put in the teapot because it gets too strong. I like to put my own in. And I like milk because that's what we do in the UK. We have milk with tea. And I'm not making that up. That's how I like it. But I go into this coffee shop, I walk to the front, and they say, oh, $3 so-and-so. I don't even have to say what I want. They know exactly what I want. And as I'm talking on the way in, they're usually getting it ready and putting it off to one side for me. It is great. I travel, and the amount of conversations I have to say about, because a lot of other places weirdly don't have milk in their tea. And having to explain and then having to go through, no, I just want normal milk, because they'll say, well, do you want it hot? Do you want it cold? Do you want 2%? It's nice that they know me and they know what I want. It's the same with artificial intelligence. There's certain things, and this is entirely up to you, you have to make choices. But I think I want it to know about certain things about me. I mean, no one's going to, I don't know, say, oh, give us $1,000, otherwise we'll tell people that you like milk in your tea. You know, it's not going to happen that way. Those bits of information don't matter. I can give it information. Also, don't forget that it's got all the information on the web anyway about you. If you're a person that's very private, they might have less information. But it's got all that out there, and it can be very helpful. So when you're focusing on privacy, think of it that way. The other thing I want to say is, when I travel everywhere, I get so many people saying, I am way behind. People are way ahead. Everybody thinks they're behind. Yeah? Pretty much most of the population think they're behind. You're all in the same place in learning. I focus on AI pretty much all my waking day. No joke. I actually like it. I find it fascinating. So if I do something fun, it's, oh, let me listen to a podcast on AI. You know, what can I do today? Oh, let me learn about AI. I do an hour professional development every day, and I cannot keep up. We had a conversation earlier, and I was asked, oh, have you seen this about AI? Have you seen this? No. You couldn't possibly see everything. AI might be able to do it, but as a human, we can't. So we're all in a good place that we're all learning. And here's another misconception. Young people know what they're doing. No, they do not. They're actually just as scared as everybody else. They might know how to do it for social networks and things, but other tools, the AI tools, they might know Snapchat and things, but like ChatGPT and many like that, I teach a lot of younger students as well. And they panic. It's like mathematics. They kind of say, oh, I don't want to go on it. And then you have the whole group that say, I don't want to go on it because of privacy. I don't want to go on it because of the ecological things, and we're going to get to those later. I'm choosing not to do it. But I will say, don't have the misconception that these people are not. My dad's 84. I teach him everything. He loves it. He has great conversations. And he does all sorts of things with it that the students in my class would just be terrified of. So don't have that misconception. We're all in the same thing. I want to introduce, I'm doing due diligence, and I'm introducing AI washing, which is an actual term. It basically means when companies say, oh, we're using AI, and everybody's using AI somewhere, everyone's, oh, we've got AI in this, so it's clearly really good. Not always the case. Do you see how my slides move and do exciting things? I could get AI to do it, but it wouldn't be as good. I do it manually. It takes me a long time, I can tell you that. When you see things flying in, they're all put off the slides, and then I have it morph in, which is a tool that in PowerPoint that we've had for years. It's not AI. So we have to choose when to use AI, when not to use it. AI is not always the best tool, so we have to look across. But AI washing, we do have to be careful of. I will tell you a story. I have lots of stories. So there was a company, you might recognize it, Amazon. They developed these just walk out shops. Have you heard of them? It's just literally called Just Walk Out. And they said that AI was watching, so you go in, you get your basket, you get the things, put them in, and then you just walk out. Perhaps not with a basket, but you walk out. AI wasn't being used. It was people in India on video cameras watching each person what they were doing. So it's not just small companies, it's the bigger companies. They had to quickly pivot and drop the AI conversation out. I love Amazon, it's great. But that was a mistake that they made where they were saying, oh, it's got AI, but it's like, do you remember the magic tricks in the history where they had the table and then there was someone hidden in the table? It's just like that. So we've got to be careful. That also ties to you being careful about what you're using in the company as well. Think of it this way. You've got some important documents. You feed it into the AI, into this AI program that people in your company don't know about. That can be privacy breaches. So you do have to, due diligence, again, think about what tools you're using. Look at your policy from your institution, organization, and follow those. But I'm going to show you lots of cool tools. So I'm going to show you lots of cool tools, but at the same time, do think carefully how to use them. Make sure you check in with your institution, making sure it's okay. Okay, here's Shadow AI. I'm sorry. There we go. The exciting bit, the affordances. Another way to say this is benefits, and I kept swapping this over to say benefits and affordances. I like this word more. Benefits are kind of what you get, but affordances is what does it offer you? What does it afford you? What does it offer? So what does AI offer us? There's a good few people in here that focus on education. So here are the education pieces, and then we're going to focus on what covers everybody. But I do want to put this up here. So from my research that I've done, these are the main areas, and we can probably know a lot of things, and we're going to see as we go into these tools how you can use these. Like content creation is a huge one. Tutoring and intelligence support. Quick side note, because even those are not in education, you probably have children, grandchildren, friends with children, nieces, nephews, whatever. These tools are great. A lot of schools are very, very nervous and saying, oh, don't use it. That is such a shame for the fact that just think what they're missing out on. If anyone here in education, you probably know of zone of proximal development. You can do so much on your own, but then with support, you can go so much further. These tools can take you so much further. There's guided learning mode on these tools where it doesn't just give you the answer, it'll help you work through, like a Socratic method. And they're very, very helpful. We just need to make sure, again, people don't use them for offloading, they use them for helping them think. So those are the ones in education. Here is what we're going to look at, especially today, how it affects you. So the affordances connected to your work, program design and storytelling, targeted investment and community responsiveness, capacity building and strategic support, impact evaluation and learning loops, and evidence-based decision-making. So we're going to go into each one of these. I'm going to show you some prompts as examples, and you can try those out at some point. But at the same time, I'm going to be showing you some tools. Now remember, we've got this, and I've kind of fit tools with certain things, but those tools probably could be used for all of those. So just think of it that way. ChatGPT, similar tools we've got here. Just to give us a read of the room, what's your go-to tool? I think this is interesting. You're all in a similar area. What do you all choose to use? Because again, I always get the question, what do you use? I use them all. But what are your colleagues using? What are those that are in the same kind of role as you? What are they using it for? Okay, you ready? Some people still scanning. Let me just give her a few more seconds. Okay, there we go. Okay, ChatGPT is the one, 74%. Copilot, okay, that just shifted up there, 17%. Gemini, Claude, and there's not anyone using Perplexity and other. Just a side note, Perplexity is a good one. I use Perplexity. In fact, here's an extra side note. OpenAI, ChatGPT, they developed deep research, and they offered it for people on the $200 a month. I'm not going to pay that. We didn't have to, because Perplexity, a week after they introduced that, offered it for free. They had the same thing, so they're not far behind OpenAI whatsoever. They offered it for free, so OpenAI had to drop it to $20 a month. Works for us. But ChatGPT is the most go-to tool. Okay, that's worth knowing for your colleagues are all kind of touching on similar things. But these tools here, we talked about earlier using it for emails, various things. Do you want to see what it can actually do? Is there anything on there that surprises you? You're looking and going, wait, can it do that? In fact, it has documents on there. Does anyone know that it can do PDFs? And I'm talking ChatGPT. Yeah. Slides. Okay, I've got a few nodding. Tell me, how do you use it for slides?
I haven't had good luck with slides, is what I was saying. I feel like the slides and the charts, and maybe it's user error and input, but
we'll talk about that in a little while, because maybe my user error as well. Have you got any programs yet to develop good slides?
not with consistency.
Not with consistency, okay? You will today.
Okay.
Okay, so yes, they do a lot of things. Again, like I said, we've got programs like this that we can go to, And I'm going to be showing you some of those right now. So there's our focus. We want to do those things with these tools. So program design and storytelling, let's go to that first. Helping us design and communicate impact. So what do we do? If we want to create impact and we want to kind of get things across, images is a great way to do it. We can have these prompts here, and I believe I've actually, when we get time to explore, I'll actually flick back to some of these so you can actually explore them. But take a look there. I'm asking for tables. I love tables. It really helps kind of see what there is. If you don't use them yet, please have a go. A visual, 2-page story. But what do we use to create this impact? Images. Yeah, we have some nice AI generated images here. They have all 5 fingers. They're looking good. Does anyone think they look absolutely real? What do you think? Are they good? You like them? No? Okay, no, they're rubbish, aren't they? Yeah. Okay, these are old school. This is like not long ago, and look at where we are. We're actually expecting more all the time of AI. It's kind of, yeah, no, they're old school now. We don't think they're that great. This is what they look like now. Create an image of a mid-aged woman. Beforehand, they used to be nice, smooth, no wrinkles. That would be nice. Hair perfectly in place. In fact, as of a while ago, Gemini still do them like a little too perfect. The eyes are a little too glowy. But Gemini is actually really good for images at the moment in other ways that I've actually switched from ChatGPT images to Gemini. But again, you'll hear me say it all throughout. I use multiple tools and then ask them to do the same thing and then choose which ones I like best. But there you go. Create an image of a mid-aged woman, create an image of a 12-year-old boy. Do you think you could tell which was a real photograph and which was fake? If you look at the eyes, the eye reflection, that's the first thing I look at, that they're in the right place. That was for music more. 95% in the study showed that they couldn't tell the difference between human or photographs or AI. We can also create things that are not real. I like chocolate. We can create whatever images we want. It used to be really difficult when I had all my presentations. I had to take pictures of all my family members, holding tablets and things, because that's the only images I could get, or I'd have to pay for them. I can create all sorts of images now. I can also create magical ones. And we can really go like, oh gosh, who could I be? I could be Ghibli or Ghibli, depending on where you are in the world. On the left-hand side, the middle one, I'm a McDonald's figurine. And on the far right, I'm a boxed professor action figure. I gave it my picture, because I chose to do that. And I've got it all over the web anyway, so it probably has it anyway. I gave it a picture, and can you see the resemblance? It's even got my little teacup in there. So these are fun, but you can create whatever you want to tell your story to people. Is anyone going to go home and try one of those after? We have some fun ones, like family members, like say they're into fishing, showing an action figure of this person fishing or whatever. This is video. Now, it doesn't look very much video at the moment. It's very static. It's one of those old images where we give them to children, say, and say, okay, you've got to picture this. And it's hard because they don't have the same schema, they don't have the same understanding and background knowledge that we do. And I actually did a whole study on this called historical empathy. And we even looked at more recent history as well. And they just didn't have the same feeling. They didn't see those people as having real feelings. It was like they were watching an actor on TV. But when you bring it to life, it feels a lot more real. Like, look at that. That looks so different. So we are not looking at developing video today. It was just too much with all the extra things. But Sora is expensive, so you probably don't want to go that way. But Vidu, V-I-D-U, is free. V-I-D-U. You can create small little snippets. You can even just put a text in and say, I want a video of this. Or you can put a picture in. Like our mascot for our university is a lion. So I put the lion in and get it to roar and that type of thing. You can ask for what you want by just typing. Music is particularly good. So if anyone saw the old images of pictures, it was terrible. And that was only like a couple of years ago. Terrible. Text, not always great. Again, you have a lot of still hallucinations and inaccuracies. Music, they want from 0 to fantastic immediately. And we are going to be making our own songs today. Very, very simply. But has anyone heard AI music? Yeah, one person, two? Not that I'm aware. Okay, a little bit not that you're aware of, yes. Well, it's very difficult. In fact, the statistics on this are 97 to 98% would never be able to tell whether it's created by a human or AI. I'm going to show you how to make it. And you'll still get a demo here, so you'll be able to hear how it sounds as well. So I showed you Udio before on the little image. Udio was a great program. It was like audio without the A, Udio. But as of a couple of days ago, they now charge if you want to download. And I don't like to pay, I like free stuff. So I moved on to the next one, which is this one, which is actually most people prefer it more than Udio. So Suno, this is my free account. And for anyone that's just kind of offloaded and gone, oh, this is going to be cute. She's going to show us how to make music, but it's going to be way too difficult for me. No, pay attention. This is super easy. All I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to the top left box. You see the song description? I'm just going to say, I want a song for this. And then it's the generate box is going to appear, and I'm just going to click the generate box. That is how easy it is. And we're going to have time to explore this after, so take a look. Okay, so I go up and I put in create a pop song about learning how to use artificial intelligence effectively. You can see the generator at the bottom. I can choose different things. I can put my lyrics in. I can choose different types of music, but I hit create. And it's creating them on that side. It's creating me 4 versions. Take a listen. I'm hitting play. It's going to have a slight delay.
I typed a question into the void, fingers crossed like a paranoid. Will it know me? Will it show me the way? A spark of code, a light parade. It's not a crystal ball, not a magic wand. But I don't like pop, I'm changing it to country song. Teach me how to ask the right.
So I've changed it to country. I've got my choices. And here's what it sounds like.
Out here in the barn with my old John Deere. New kind of tools whispering in my ear. It don't smell like diesel, don't kick up no dust. But it's sharp as a blade, and it's earning my trust. I'm learning to talk to the machine. It don't have hands, but it sure can dream.
Okay, and take a look here where I go and I can download it. There we go. Go to the download, surprisingly there. And the top one is free as an MP3. So I can literally go in. And now, I know you think, oh, she's an AI expert. Do you think you could do that? Do you think you could type in, I want a song for this? And that's what it creates. So here's your task for the moment, because some people go away straight away and like create these, but you've got time now to explore. You can explore the image creation. Take a look at the different tools and decide what image you want to create to help you tell a story about what you need connected to your work, or even for fun, just to get an idea of what it can do. And audio generation, Suno. That's time to do that. So go ahead. I'm going to be wandering around to help, but please have a go. I'm going to go back to this slide, and then hopefully we can get that. Let me try that one more time. Okay, so I'm going to get back to the prompts, and feel free to have a go at the prompts as well. I know you've just started going, but I'm just going to play what wouldn't play before. I'm just going to play a bit more music of what AI can generate, and it's very clever. And look underneath at the prompt. Obviously, the most fabulous prompt will create really good music. So take a listen to some of this. That underneath is the prompt there.
Luna llena, no me mires así, que tu luz me recuerda lo que perdí. En el aire va mi pena volar y en mi pecho no me deja cantar. But tonight, your fire, you burn like fever, fever, fever.
Pretty cool. Okay, have you created a song? We're going to have to listen to your song after. Okay, we're going to come back together. I know this is fun, but believe me, I've got lots of other fun stuff to show you as well. I want to make sure there's time. Can we have the microphone, please? And we'd like to hear some songs. Who's going to volunteer their song that they've created, or does someone want to volunteer somebody else? I'm going to go for either. Yes, we've got one about a dog.
Just a prompt generated one.
I was gonna do it, but my dog ate it first. Back then they didn't want me, now I'm Mike Jones. Hey, keep it on the low, Vito Corleone. Hey, I can kill the game if you want me to, but I've been dealing with my dog like...
Oh, we watched it. The dog ate the homework. That is hilarious. Okay. You know I want the song.
No.
Who'd like to hear their song? Yes, woo! Right, we're ready. Do you want to tell us anything before it?
The prompt was to write a song about Arizona Educational Foundation and its programs.
I'm sure that's not the song that you were laughing at, but we'll go with that one.
Arizona skies, a canvas of light, we build the future. Brick by brick, every mind's a spark, every mind's a cliff.
Very cool. Very cool. Any more? Oh, we've got over here. Yes. Do you want to tell us what your prompt is beforehand? I'll let you.
So I work for Salt River Project in the community partnerships team. So I typed in Salt River Project community partnerships, and let me see. This is what I got.
Okay.
I don't know how to make it work.
When you start it, and we'll hold it close.
The river flows through desert sands with open hearts and open hands. The sun beats down, but we rise high. We're building bridges, touching sky.
I love that one. That was very nice. Very nice. Okay, any more? I know lots of people. Anyone want to tell us about the video that you made? I know some people made videos. Yes, please. Okay, do the song.
My son has not given us a Christmas list yet, so he's getting this song when I get home.
The snow is falling, but you're silent too. No wish list, no hint. What's a parent to do? We've got the lights, we've got the tree, but no clues from you. What gift should it be? Santa's waiting, pen in hand, but you've got no demand. If you don't tell us, socks will appear.
Yay, that's going on. Wonderful. So these are great, and it's great to actually do them for very personal things as well, because you get the idea of what the capabilities of the programs, and then it's great fun as well. But you learn to know the tools, which helps build up your AI literacy, and then you can take it into work. So the next piece here, targeted investment and community responsiveness. So here again, I'm going to share these at some point as well, the prompts. But these are very interesting. Like, take a look at that. Create a data table ranking US. Let's look at what that looks like. In fact, I'm not going to be able to copy and paste it, but I actually did that one earlier. And the table it brought up was so complex. It was kind of nice and friendly, but it literally covered all the pieces to do with available education, income, and connectivity indicators, with links as well for me to go off and fact check. That was very impressive. Don't forget, when you're asking and you're prompting, you can say, search the web. Or when you say search the web, it will give you the places where it finds the answers from. Or you can ask all these different formats. This is one example. I put the screenshot here. As well as getting information about, like we just had there, saying, okay, make me data, pull in this bits of data. AI is really good at figuring out and working through data. So I'm currently working with head teachers in Wales, not the animal. Part of the UK, Wales, a little bit on the side, where actually all my family now live. They love Wales. And what they had is the head teachers have this index. It's a very interesting name, doesn't always mesh with the US, but the data set is called the Welsh Index of Multiple Deprivations. So it basically looks at all healthcare, access to housing, income. It has loads of data. But it's too much for the head teachers. They need a person that's, good at statistics or good at data to be able to kind of work through all this. So I've actually developed some prompts for them. I show them how to download this data set, which is massive. They choose it for their particular area and download it. And I show them I give them the prompts basically, saying, okay, put this into ChatGPT, give this prompt saying I want the top 3 areas pain points for my location. It brings it out, and then they go further down like, oh, give me strategies we could use to help this. Because the idea is in the schools is if they help with issues in the community, that will help student attainment. And they've actually done this. What they found out from using this and using the prompts and the AI that could pick out those 3 areas is it found healthcare was an issue, in particular colon cancer. Their area had a huge mass of colon cancer. And so they thought, okay, these students going to these homes with colon cancer, that's going to upset them, obviously. Again, their attainment in school is not going to be as good. So in schools, we can raise awareness. And it went, apparently, from 26% of people getting tested for colon cancer to 78%. They just had speakers in the school talking about it, people that had got colon cancer saying, oh, I wish I'd have gone for the test earlier, and things like that. And it was a great partnership between the communities and the schools. So this protocol we've actually developed has gone out through all of South Wales at the moment, and is probably going to go into North Wales as well, as a way for head teachers to have access to someone that can go through massive data sets to give them answers. So that's just an extra kind of example there. Capacity building and strategic support. Okay, looking there. Frameworks, toolkits, things to help build AI skills, whatever it is, to build, again, capacity. So in other words, training and all those different things there. We have some prompts. Develop a 3-tier capacity building roadmap for nonprofits integrating AI. Again, you have to think about the type of prompts. We're going to have a look at prompts again at the end of the session today. But think about your prompts. Okay? Notebook LM. Who's used Notebook LM? 1, 2. What have you used Notebook LM for?
I don't use it anymore, but I used to just put some notes in to kind of dissect it.
Yeah.
I'm an audio cast.
Oh, we're going to look at that. How long ago was it? A little while? Okay, yes. Gosh, that's like historic period in time of AI. And have you used it for?
Yeah, I used it for like homework.
Okay.
Summarize long reading sections.
This is my favorite tool at the moment. Let me show you why. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually do a live demo here because this is too exciting not to. And this is one of the tools that while it does certain things, it actually provides us a few opportunities. So this is Notebook LM. It has 3 panels. The left-hand side, you put your sources in. The middle, it'll give you a summary. And the studio to the right will give us lots of magical tools. Okay, you ready? Are you excited? Are you ready? Okay, we have a little while. We've got 15 minutes before lunch. So I'm going to show you one thing and then we'll come back after, have a play of that thing. Then I'm going to show you some others. But you have to promise you don't look at the other things in the studio. We will do the audio one first. But, so, And in fact, I'm not going to give you time because you're going to go off. I know. I've walked around and I've seen that you'll all go experimenting way before 10. So let me give you an example of what it looks like. Here's the 3 things, like I've said. I'm going to go to one I made earlier. The add sources, first of all, you can add all sorts of sources. You could add things from Google Drive, a website, YouTube. You can paste text in, or you can just add files in there. So you put in what you want with the proviso that it's not copyright material. You shouldn't be putting that in. So if it's open access articles and things, you're fine. But be careful for feeding these tools with things that are copyright, because we shouldn't do that. But you can put whatever in. Here's one I made earlier. Oh, there it is. Look at that. Now on the left-hand side, I went to the Helios website and put some web pages in. I just gave it 3 web pages. And in the middle there, it gave me, like I said, a summary of what that thing is. And then the studio, what I call a magical studio, on the right-hand side here, I can create things. Like the audio overview, I can also create videos. I can create all sorts of things. The audio overview, it used to be you just clicked on it. Now it gives us choices with the pencil there. So I have deep dive, a brief, a critique, a debate. I can choose the length of it. I can choose the language, and look at the languages. They're not written in English. They're written in the language they would expect to see it in, which is very logical, but it never used to happen in the past. Look at that. A great deal of languages there. And then you can choose exactly what you want and you hit generate. If that's all too much for you for starting, you just can hit the button, audio overview. And let me play what it sounds like. So this is like a podcast. It's not going to read out what's on the web pages. It looks through the web pages I've given it and says, okay, if I was making a podcast, this is what it sounds like. And it's very friendly. Take a listen.
What, over $350 million to work?
Exactly. Over $350 million. And not just anywhere, but specifically targeted across 2 very different states, Arizona and Florida.
That scale, it really grabs your attention right away. And the focus is so specific, low income and historically underrepresented students. So the big question is, how do they even begin to manage that complexity?
Well, that's where their structure is so interesting. It seems they aren't just, spraying money around, hoping something sticks.
No, not at all.
Their whole grant-making process is aimed at what they call the education continuum, hitting 3 really, really critical bottlenecks along that path.
That's it. They've got these 3 core goals driving everything. First, it's the foundation, making sure students can read proficiently by the end of 3rd grade.
Which is so crucial. You don't get that right, everything else is a struggle.
It's an uphill battle. So that's number 1. Number 2 is increasing college enrollments, getting them through the door.
And then number 3, making sure they actually leave with a diploma.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm going to pause that there a second. Is that accurate? You know what's nice about this? It's a podcast. But do you see that little thing there where it says interactive? We can ask it questions in the middle and it will literally quick recreate the rest of it to answer at the end. Yeah? So when you're testing this out, have a go at that interactive piece there. Again, this is the free version. I have actually the pro as well, but you can get it all on free, but you just can't generate too many. It'll let you generate so much and then say, okay, halt there. But was that surprising? Was that a good one? I will say as well, I have loads to read. I get lots of reports and things that are like 500 pages, and it's kind of, how on earth do you think I can read all of that? I put them into here. They're open access. I put them in. While I'm driving to work, I listen to it. And it makes it at a very easy, understandable level. Think about it for children. Yes, they should read, but then in school, I didn't always take everything in the first time. Then they've got other opportunities, multimodal ways of taking that information in. Okay, so that's the podcast. Let's have a look at the video overview. So again, for the video overview, I've got the choice of explainer or brief. I've got all my languages, and then I've got styles here. I can choose all sorts, papercraft, retro print, anime, whatever, and I can hit generate. Or again, if I want to go for the easier option, I just go to where it says overview and just hit it, and it'll make a default one. Let's take a look. And again, we've got the same information it's pulling from. I'm going to click. I've got two here that I can show you. What I'm going to do, though, is just for space so you can see it. Can you see that little button at the top? I'm just going to close that just so we've got a bit more space and you can see the video. And I'm going to move that over. Okay. Here's the video.
You know, when you think about powering a community's future, you might think of things like coal or gas, right? But what if you could power it with opportunity? Well, that's pretty much the core idea behind Helios Education Foundation. And today we're going to take a look at exactly how they're building that engine for change. So let's start with a really big question, something that's on a lot of people's minds. How do you build a stronger future for a community? I mean, is it all about building new roads, attracting big businesses? Well, for Helios, the answer, it's something totally different. And this right here, this quote really gets to the heart of it all. They say, we believe that education is an investment, not an expense, and comes with the expectation of a return. Now think about that for a second. That one idea, it shapes absolutely everything they do. This isn't just about giving money away.
So again, I've just given it 3 web pages, and this is what it's created. I'm going to go back to the studio. I'm going to give you another example of another type of video. I chose a different style. I can't remember. Maybe. Let's have a look. I'm going to jump it forward.
Think about that. For many, it's not a what if, it's reality. And it's why Helios exists. So they're focusing their efforts in Arizona and Florida, where the need is greatest. Their mission is simple, but huge. Help all students succeed after high school. Okay, so how do they become this engine of opportunity?
So just think how these are easy for you to make. I'm going to jump to another one a second. I'm going to jump out and go to another one with an article in it. There we go. This article is open access. So I put the article in there. It was about English language teaching and learning. I actually did this with the British Council. And there, and again, in this, there's a summary. We have the place there to type what we want. And then here again are all the places of what we can have. Again, I made actually flashcards here. And you can see the flashcards. And I could click on and see the answer. And I even have it explain. And it will go into explanations. So this is a tool that does all sorts of things. And you have all those opportunities. It doesn't matter what you put in. I'm going to go back to the Helios because that's kind of fun because we're here. And I'm just going to show you the mind map. So again, I can click on the mind map. I made one earlier because it takes a couple of minutes otherwise. Here is the mind map. I've got my mouse. I can move it around. It gives us the Helios Education Foundation overview. Here's all the pieces. You can see it's pulled from the website. I can click on this and it will tell us more. There's no extra off that one though. Oh, I've zoomed in. Core beliefs and values. Community, I can click on again and it pushes out. If I want to zoom, this is kind of nice. Say you're working with another organization and you want to know about that organization. These can provide great summaries, and even that mind map there, being able to understand where everything is, that's kind of a nice something to take into a meeting and say, oh, I see this. I do like mind maps. Now, last thing there, again, I'm going to reduce it, so push it in. I'm going to go back to the studio, and I did a briefing doc. On the reports here, it gives you multiple choices. Create your own briefing doc, study guide, a blog post to talk through it. Don't know if you have to do social media, but I'm guessing many people do. And you have to think about what you want to put out there. AI, I use all the time for social media. You can actually probably tell when I don't, because it probably sounds terrible. But these are very helpful in just summarizing and getting across what you want. And it gives you other suggested ideas after that. I did one earlier of, here, a briefing doc. So there's my briefing doc. There's the executive summary, foundation principles and mission, core mission. It tells me all sorts, you can see here. Grant-making pillars, partnerships in action, even to leadership and organizational structure, because that's one of the pages I put in. You can see some people there looking, and you've got your names there. So these are very helpful. They are helpful at all levels, from the educational level, helping it for students, for your level, in being able to just kind of summarize and digest some of this information. But they provide great, like I said, podcasts and things like that. I had someone once record my keynote. So they recorded just my voice, put the audio recording in, and asked for a podcast to kind of highlight some of the features in the keynote. They didn't do the video, but the video wasn't there by then, otherwise they probably would. But I think I've shown you everything there is there. I think you're all getting ready for food. But quizzes, flashcards, obviously great for education. But wow, that is my favorite tool. Who sees themselves using that? Oh, yes. My voice is echoing outside. Those other people will kind of scooch back in nice and quick. So, Notebook LM, I did say we're going to have a practice at this, but I actually want to show you one more thing to overload you. No. So, Notebook LM, like I said, we can put in what we need to put in. Could be a massive report that we're going to digest. Or it could just be, okay, tell me about this organization. Was it shocking to see Helios?
Yes. And very well done. Very well.
It's very interesting. And you have to play. It takes a few minutes for the videos and things to appear, but it is a great tool. So please explore that. Now, I do want to show you one last thing, because I want you to be able to then go and explore Notebook LM and this other, I won't call it tool, it's more of the prompt. You know how I said that these tools we can do a lot more with? Well, I'm going to show you Claude. And what I'm going to ask is, I'm going to ask Claude to make me an interactive online game. Like I said, I was a K-12 teacher, and I didn't have this computer scientist off the side that can make all this stuff for me. I have now. So take a look. We can do this in ChatGPT. It looks a bit different. It provides a great game, an app, whatever you're asking for, a web page. I asked for a game on here, which is kind of exciting. Like I said, Claude is like a ChatGPT. That's the one that's more transparent and ethical and everything. You can see I'm on a free plan, but take a look at this. This is me just asking, create an interactive online game to learn about using artificial intelligence. About to hit it, reminding you it's free, and then I click. Now, to make games and things, you have to code. There you go. I don't know whether you can see fully with the lights. Hopefully you can. That's a lot of coding going off on the side there. It takes a little while sometimes. So I actually paused this and I brought it back, but there's my game. It's asking questions. I have to choose, and I choose the wrong one, and it says not quite and helps redirect me. Next scenario. And what's nice is I can publish out to the web, or I can get the code and put it on a website if I want, if I have access to that. I usually just get the code, get the link, and then give that to my students. Again, you have to look and do due diligence of checking that this is all right. But to be honest, this is okay. Think bigger. Think, okay, I want a game. I want them to do different things, and every time they can collect a token. And I want little fireworks to come off in the middle and I get it right. I can do whatever. When you're exploring this, maybe you remember Super Mario with the car. I want a Super Mario game. I want it to be fabulous. So I want it fabulous. And the arrow keys, I want to be able to navigate with those arrow keys, my car. And it will do it. So I'm going to leave this up. So you've got Claude or ChatGPT where you can ask, make me an online interactive game. And you've also got Notebook LM. So we are going to explore those. There's still more to do today. Like I said, time flies when you're having fun. There's a few more things to show you. Very exciting still. So we're going to go for probably 5, 6, 7 minutes. Let's see how we go. So please let me know if you have any questions as I come round. So you're working on making a game. Where is it? There we go. Notebook LM or make a game. Okay, I'm afraid we're going to have to pull you all back now. I know you're desperate to carry on with Notebook LM. Let me give you 20 seconds just to wrap up what you're doing. And then we're moving on because I have so much to show. Okay, so you've explored. Next one, impact evaluation and learning loops. Okay, let's have a look at some of the prompts from this. One of my favorites, I always want to kind of push the idea, tables are fabulous. Tables summarizing key outcomes for 10 projects valuations. Now you've also got to think about what you're putting in to the tools again, because we're asking some of the information here where you have to put your organization's information in. So if you're on a closed system, okay, you still check with the institution, with the organization, make sure that's okay. The other thing again is if you've got ChatGPT, make sure it's set to private. But if you're on these private systems, this is where I'm not telling you I'm making kind of a choice personally. I'm telling you to, as well as your organization. That to me is okay. It's using a tool well. You're giving it information to help it do a job. That's great. Also think about it even to more extreme. Think about it in schools. We don't give student information to AI, but what happens if the AI is secure and it's not going to give that information out? As a classroom teacher, grading took me more time than anything else. And it's important that we do personal grading, but some of it didn't need me. Like we have these automated systems now that speed it up, and then I could look and put my piece across to the student with comments and things. So this, we have to do a balance. We have to think about it not as all in or all out. But I actually see these making teachers actually have enough time to sleep at night. I remember my first week looking at all the stacks of paper. I always remember I was over one side of the classroom looking at the other side, and I had these nice tidy boxes, and I had the stack of the books. And I thought, wow, I've got to grade that every day. That's just impossible. But you figure it out, but I need to be in front of my students more. I need to be doing stuff with them more. So again, you have to think of the ethical part of that. I'm going to show you a new tool, another one that's going to blow your mind. I feel very confident. Do you feel confident? Do you feel like I'm going to show you another fabulous tool? Yes, I'm not hearing it from you. Yeah. Yes, that was kind of okay. I'll go with that. Napkin AI. So, how many times do we have to, so I'll say again, napkin AI, because I saw you all suddenly writing. So napkin AI. So we often, and I know for a fact you're going to have to do it, you have to do kind of lists or frameworks, different things like that. Like maybe it's a list of 5 things, 6 things, whatever. And you have to create the graphic. You try putting it into Claude. Oh, definitely not Claude. Sorry, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini, and it makes images, but when it comes to writing and doing these things, it doesn't do a good job. In fact, it does a terrible job. And you can't edit it afterwards. This is a great tool. I actually use this for my academic articles to show figures and things as well, but it's nice and simple. So watch carefully. With excitement. So nice and simple. I get a choice of writing with AI, but I go to a blank napkin. I put a title in, digital well-being. I put some text in. Now I'm going to, oh, I didn't mean to jump it. I'm going to pause it on the text. Put the text in. Pause. There we go. That's just a simple bit of text. I could have put a list of things, but AI is just going to look and figure out what to do with it. So up there I'm saying balancing online engagement with real world presence. And then it mentions a few things to be safe. Ooh. Didn't do a thing. So let's have a look. Let's see if I start it again, it'll come back on. Hopefully. Nope. Okay, we might need tech support, I'm afraid. Let's see if it comes on. What I'm going to tell you is, though, oh, it's back. Well, it's back over there. If you can look over there for a minute. This is just testing us. Okay, take a look. I'm hitting on the little blue. In case you missed it there, I'm just going to go back. Has it come over here yet? No. So I put my text in, and then you see that little blue thing on the left?
Your screen's went off again.
Oh, okay. I will tell you nice and quick. And then hopefully we'll get the screen on. Can someone grab text? I think she's gone out, has she? Perfect, thank you. Oh, and it's back on in bits. Let's just look at it quick while it's on. Quick. The blue circle, it brought up images. I am going to hopefully keep it on. Okay. And can you see it's given me all these different choices of magical images there, graphics that are really good. I can even go to the bottom where it says more and get even more. And then I can even go to customize, and if I want it to fit the size of a PowerPoint slide or something, I can. I'm keeping it as it is, but I've got all the choices there. I then lots and lots of choices. I choose one, which is very hard because you'll spend ages scrolling going, oh, that's great, that's great, that's great. So I've chosen it. I can change any of those colors, and very importantly, I can change the text. Just click on anything, it's a normal text box, and I can just change it. That saved me so much time. And I didn't have all this text underneath. I had like a basic of it, and it puts it in for me. I can change the fonts there. I can change whatever. And just to be clear, I am on the free version. There again are the aspects and things like that. I can change the background colors if you want to have a lot of fun. I can change the colors in the thing. And then most importantly, I can go over to the right and I can click export. Again, free version. Always important. And look at the choices there. I can have background on or off. I can do dark or light mode. And can you see at the top, I can save it as a file there and hit download. And I use this a lot. I often have 5 things to show people, 6, 4, whatever. You can choose a graphic that match. And it provides me a very nice visual. So I'm going to let you explore that. I'm also going to put on these prompts so you can explore those. So we're going to have a few minutes. Notebook. Try and stay off of that for a minute. But Napkin AI, or have a look at the prompts just for a few minutes. Okay, if we can explore for the next 30 seconds and come back. I hate to pull you back, but if I didn't show you the last things, it'd be a shame because they're really good.
We're with you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Follow your lead.
So just wrapping up. On Napkin AI, you can give it a lot, but it's got to generate those images with those points. So sometimes it can be too much, so you've got to keep it to a minimal, like you would do. I mean, if it's going to have 25 points, you wouldn't actually make a graphic normally, would you, showing 25 points? You kind of break it up. So that's what you need to do on there. So let me show you a little bit more. Okay, there's the napkin that we've had a look at. We've explored. Now, evidence-based decision making. So forecasts impact, does all these things, provides summaries. Here's some prompts, and I can come back to these later. Structured executive brief. There's so many ideas here. Now take a look. I'm asking here, we all, who has to do presentations? Who has to do slides? Yeah, okay. This is ChatGPT. I'm going to set it off going, but for the interest of time, I might actually cut it short. But basically what's happening is I've asked it to make some PowerPoint slides. It can actually do them, but it's actually not done that. It's just given me a list, and I go to download and there's no PowerPoint slides there. It does PDF, which is great, but it didn't do PowerPoint slides. So I ask it again. I want them as PowerPoint slides, and again it gives me some stuff and then says, do you want it as PowerPoint slides? And I say, yes, get a move on. And then when I get the PowerPoint slides at the end, they're okay. And you're probably thinking, well, why are you showing me if they're just okay? For the fact that by tomorrow, they could be fabulous. I'm going to show you.
Could you put those into napkin?
Usually it's documents into napkin, not slides. But you could put, yes, the output. Yeah, that's a very good thought. You could also just ask it for a basic, what are the 5, 6 points, 7 on this, and then you can put that into napkin. So, like I said, ever so often, like images, I go to ChatGPT, I go to Gemini, the swapping continually. So it's important to know you can get them. If AI says it can't, tell it, yes, you can, go and do it. And it should do it for you. But this is Gemini, and it can do it. The slides I'm showing you here are okay, but it can make really, really magical slides. And it doesn't do it PowerPoint. It does it in Google Slides, but then you can download them into PowerPoint. So you can put them wherever you want. But watch carefully. I go to Gemini. I put the article in that I'm allowed, create a presentation from this article, make it bright, modern, and exciting. So I ask it and I hit canvas. Now let me just go back and show you that because that is really, really important. There. Can you see what I did on Gemini? I went down and went to canvas. ChatGPT's got a version as well. They're all called the same name, Canvas, Canva. But when you click that, it will make the slides. If you don't click that, it won't make you a set of slides. It'll give you the content for the slides. It's not an extra program. It's just a tool within that program. So in Gemini, Canvas is just a tool within. It's not a third party. So let me carry on. So I think I paused it on record here and then it came back up, but you can see there creating slides. And don't forget, when I got the slides, I can go to the left and say, oh, make it better, make it more this. Here's my slides. So the first ones, and that's as exciting as I'd have, I'd probably say, you know, make something more. But keep looking. That's quirky again. That's not too bad. Okay, you see? I can use that as a great starting point then. And once you're in slides, whatever, oh, it even quotes me. Look at that. I wrote the article, so. But that's a nice set of slides. I will say again, when I do the screencasts, it does kind of an okay set. When I'm using it other times and I want like one slide or a couple of slides, it has really good images. It can have the picture across the whole slide. You just have to prompt well to say, look, I want it full picture first slide. I want it very exciting, dynamic, great colors, and it can create a whole set. So imagine you have to show a report to people, something like that. This is a great tool where it can do that for you. But again, you go back and look, make sure everything is accurate. But you can edit, and it's a great starting point, which means you can get on with other tasks you might have to work with. So, who has Gemini? I'm going to ask you that before I send you off to do it. Anybody? A little bit? So we're not going to have time now. If you want to go to Gemini later, if you want to try ChatGPT and ask for it, it can create them, but it's going to get so much better soon. But this is the free version of Gemini that I did this on, so that's worth paying attention to. Okay, let's have a look at the next. What else have I got to show? Okay, in the questions I asked, people had this that they wanted to know. Environmental impact, as we're wrapping up now. We've seen a lot of cool tools today. You've seen probably a lot in the media saying, oh, this takes all this water. I can say they're typically wrong, that it's a lot less, but I have caveats. So let me tell you. So a normal prompt, this is by Gemini. Nobody else has actually given us statistics yet on this. For a normal medium-sized prompt, it's the same as 1 second of a microwave or 9 seconds of watching TV. That's how much electricity it uses, so not a great deal. There's the CO2 in the middle. On the right, so when it's talking full stack of water, cooling, all that the AI has to do, for a prompt, it's equivalent to about 5 drops of water. So not a lot, yeah? However, think of all the prompts that we do. Think cumulatively. It's a massive environmental concern when it comes to all those. Do you remember I showed you that slide earlier? 800 million users. That adds up. And we don't yet, it's showing what's not reported, we don't yet have any understanding of what images and things are. Again, what's being reported in the media, people are guessing and usually overinflating it to be able to sell papers and whatever. But we have to actually find out how much it is. But again, it's a lot. And you all need to still thank me, because I brought the rain 2 days running. It's my pleasure. So we've got to think about that. This is how we can do our bit to help the environment. Prompt engineering. Prompt engineering is where you find the right words to get what you need. Sometimes people can just put general stuff in and then keep having it do again and again. You can do it, but if you want to reduce the footprint on the world, do a better prompt. So here's a way. This was my typical saying before. I always used to say, rubbish in, rubbish out. That's really not true. You put something rubbish in now, and the output actually is really good. Music was a funny one. There was a man on the web, and it went viral, so to speak. This man was saying, these music generators are terrible. Look, I'll just put silly type in. And it took the type and made a brilliant song, a really good song. So it's not always the case, but what's pertinent to us is this one: quality input, relevant output. You might get an answer, it might be a great answer, but it might not be fully relevant to what you need. So you need to think about it. Never think about it as a tool. Think about it as a human being. What would you tell that human being to do the job? It's identical to what you tell AI. So tell it, and then it's not just cycling through, giving you a load of stuff that's using that water, using that electricity that we don't need. So here is the PATA framework. I developed that with the group, and there's a QR code there that will give you a video and everything. I'm going to play that now. But the idea is purpose, audience, tone, but then you reflect and refine. So let me show you what that looks like. Okay, this is where I'm connected. It's ODU, and we've got the ODU global piece as well. But here's the PATA prompt framework. And I'm going to, there's text to describe all of it there. But here's the video. This was actually created yesterday. We still have, you're not going to notice anything, but there's still things I'd like to fix and make better. But it's a good start. Gives you some ideas. Okay, I'll make it big. And there we go.
So you want to create better prompts for generative AI. Let's look at the PATTER prompt engineering framework. Each letter in PATTER represents a key element to include in your prompt: purpose, audience, tone, reflect, and refine. We'll use an instructional situation to illustrate the framework. Purpose. What information or product do you want? Be specific. Suppose that you want to create a lesson on plate tectonics for your students. Instead of, tell me about plate tectonics, try, list the key ideas related to plate tectonics. Or develop a lesson plan on plate tectonics. To further articulate the purpose, you might prompt the AI to act as an expert on the subject. The prompt could be, act as an expert on plate tectonics and develop a lesson plan on the subject. Clarity is important. Audience. Who are you writing for or talking to? Who's going to see the output from the generative AI? A classroom of beginners? Or maybe advanced science majors? For example, if your audience are younger learners, your prompt could be, act as an expert on plate tectonics and develop a lesson plan on the subject for 10-year-olds. If you're teaching in higher education, you might change the audience in the prompt to, for an undergraduate earth science class for majors. Tailor the language and detail accordingly. Whether it's for an expert or a beginner, your audience decides the depth, detail, and language. Tone. This relates to the attitude, mood, or style you want to express. Should the AI sound serious and formal, or friendly and persuasive? Maybe for fun,
You want the generative AI to write in the style of a rapper or Shakespeare. Reflect. Once you have your result, take a beat. Did the AI nail it? What worked? What missed the mark? Check to see if your prompt could be more clear and if you have provided relevant information. And finally, refine. Here's the magic step. Adjust your prompt and try again. You can ask the generative AI to provide more or less of content, make a concept clearer, or provide more examples. Prompting is like sculpting. Every tweak shapes the masterpiece. With the pattern framework, you will stop tossing vague questions into the AI void and start crafting prompts that deliver relevant, high-quality answers that will make your AI use more efficient and effective.
Okay, so that is on the website. There's lots of descriptions there with it as well that, oh, no, I don't. Hold up. There we go. So the video's there and there's lots of information, and we're actually going to provide more there to give people an idea. But if you need to share that with people again, think environmental impact and how you can make a better prompt to match what you need. I will say one extra thing when it comes to prompting. One of my best tips in prompting is ask me questions. What else do you need to know? If you have an assistant, you would never go to the assistant and say, okay, can you do this for me? You'd say, can you do this for me? And usually they'd come back saying, well, what about that? What about that? And then there'd be a bit of back and forth, and then you would go off. But we don't give AI that opportunity. It never can ask us, oh, what do you mean by that? So that is an extra prompt, but at the end of what you ask, just say to them, is there any questions you might have before you go and do this? We're not going to have time to explore, because I do want to get time to be with Leah and Lindsay and go through some things. But just a reminder, we've not done any voice today. We've done all text. Don't forget, you can actually talk to it. There it is on your mobile device. I have conversations continually. Like I'm driving, I set it going and we discuss all sorts of different things. Very interesting. And on your desktop computer, it's also there. A lot of people don't notice it's there. Okay, going forward, what you need to know before we go out today and before we get to the fireside chat. So, does anyone know code in here? Can anyone code? No, C++, Java, Python? No? How long do you think it takes to learn to code? Like 3 years, possibly longer, 2 years, maybe if you rush it. It takes a long time. We're going to learn how to code today. So how long have we got? We've got another couple of hours. You don't mind staying for another couple of hours? I can reduce it to a couple of hours. 20 seconds. Does 20 seconds work? 20 seconds, agreed. I will teach you how to code in 20 seconds. Vibe coding. But before I show you that, let me see if I've got the other image on. Let me see. Yes, there it is. You know when I say I put images in? This was the image by ChatGPT, which actually did a better job. But when I asked for the same thing on Gemini, I got this, which I thought was hilarious. Like Java. Can you see the Python? Vibe coding, feeling the vibe. We are going to feel the vibe. Okay, you ready? So as I said, I'm going to teach you vibe coding in 20 seconds. So you're all going to be leaving the room, being able to code. And this isn't a made up, this is a set method of coding. Okay, you ready? Anyone start the clock? It's where you want the things where you typically code. Like I want an app, I want games, and someone would create the code. Basically, you ask AI to do it for you. You tell it. Do you remember that one? Create an online interactive game. Normally for someone to do that, it'd take code. I just told it what I want, and it does the coding for me. And as we saw last time, there the coding appears. That is vibe coding. About 20 seconds. Not too bad. Now, this is kind of basic, even though that's kind of cool that we can make all these games. There are many now. You can go into Google AI Studio if anyone wants to kind of go further. And you can make all sorts of apps and all sorts of things. But there's your vibe coding. AI agent, I told you I would tell you about this. Okay. AI agents, we've got some here. We've got Perplexity, Gemini Assistant. We've got Microsoft Copilot version, Myco, over here. And what they are, agents, you will tell it to do something and it will go and do it for you. So it's like delegating on big scale. That's what we're going to see for the future. There's going to be agents that do small things and agents that cover all sorts. In the future, I can't say it's a prediction because it's going to be guaranteed. We're going to have agents and you're going to connect to all your calendar, email, everything. And when you ask it to do something, it's going to be able to look into all these places. We have a browser out that just came out called Comet. Oh, these are all the organizations that are all competing to make their own browser. This is Comet. And a week after Comet came out, Atlas came out from OpenAI. So again, this is fast. Atlas, I can't actually get access to it yet. It's only for people with Macs. But this one I have. This is by Perplexity. And what happens is, over here on the right, you can see where it says Assistant. I will hit on this button here and start talking to it. So this is the browser. I'm not giving it access to stuff at the moment because it's not in that place. It's not good enough yet. But I let it have access to this browser where it can find things. I have just 2 tabs open there. Not Notebook. Let's see. LinkedIn and Google Scholar. So let's see what it can do. The blue is where it's doing stuff. I don't touch the computer at any time.
Hello.
Hi there. How can I assist you today?
What I'd like you to do is I'd like you in Google Scholar to go to my profile and just look up the latest article I've just published.
It's going doing it for me. And actually, I thank it before it's done it, but it carries on. It's found it in.
And drop my vaccine and send the message to
You're on my friend list. Now, at that point, it got stuck. It did it multiple times when I was not recording it, but every time I recorded, it gave up. So that is where we're at with it. But just picture the future, like I said. So that's the browser in the future, which could be next week, next month. It could be, okay, go to my email, go to check my calendar, send email reminders to those that I've got meetings with. It's going to do all of that. In all the times I asked it before every time I hit record, it didn't do. You would see it go to my friend list. You'd see it find Leanne. And you would see it go to message, send her a message, and there we go. So that's where it's at now. So what does this leave us with? It means today, the average person has more access to more computing power than a Fortune 500 company did 30 years ago. Today, going forward, the average person soon will have access to more labor than a typical billion-dollar company today. Did that make sense? Think about those agents, that they're going to have all an agent that might do all of those things, or you might have multiple agents. When we're looking about students coming out, or even other people changing jobs, you're not just competing now against all the people. Now, what it looks like is the interviewer saying, or definitely thinking, what makes you better than AI for this position? I saw some people's faces, then it was kind of, oh, yeah, that's the way it is at the moment. So I will tell you again quickly, the way it is at the moment is, jobs are not going to AI. That's not what we're seeing. Yale and a few other places got together and they all said, what's happening is during COVID, a lot of people were hired. Now they're being dropped off a little bit. So that's looking like it's AI when it's not. But I still see that happening. But what we do know for absolute fact is those that know how to use AI are replacing those that don't. That is an absolute given. Here's school workforce skills that we've done from the research. You have to be agile. You have to think and be able to use these tools. Data literacy, digital literacy are key skills. But problem solving, analytical, creativity, again, working with these tools. Now I'm going extra on time here. Is that okay?
It's your show.
Oh, nice and quick. We've not got long now, okay? I saw people taking pictures. This is what I want to leave you on. The next slide is going to be showing the QR code in case you need to get to those places. But instead of asking what AI will replace, ask what it can make possible. We need to shift our mindset because it's not going away. All those people that were kind of panicking, saying, no, let's shut AI down, it's impossible. Like I always say, it's like throwing a bucket of water on the floor and trying to gather it back in. It's impossible. AI is here, it's going to stay. Let's be careful knowing what we know now, but let's also see what we can use it for. So I'm going to leave it on this slide, and thank you very, very much for listening. Thank you.
All right, so we promised to have you out by 2:30, but we did want to leave time for Q&A, just in case there's some burning questions.
Mm-hmm.
And so Dr. Crompton also thought it might be wise to have Dr. Leanne Lindsay from the Institute come join, because you might ask a question that's very national or global, and you might ask a question that's like, hey, give me a quick Arizona context for that. And so Leanne from our team, who led the publishing of Arizona's AI guidance, will join up front. And I have a series of questions, but I think that's less important than what questions you might have to get started. So are there questions around the tools that you saw, where this might go? Dr. Crompton just kind of gave at the very end this, like, what about the new skills kids might need in the future? Would love to just pause. I know we have a second microphone somewhere. What questions do you have? Concerns, wonderings, excitements, fears? We'll go to the board member first.
Thanks, Chad. I keep thinking about who is studying and how are we going to deal with the economic dislocation of bankers, insurance underwriters, educators, all the people that potentially in the next 5 or 10 years will go away from a jobs perspective.
Can I go with that?
Yes.
Okay.
And who's studying it?
Oh, loads of people are studying it. We're exploring all the time, because one of the major jobs that looks like it's going away is actually radiography. My sister's a radiographer, always very interested, and we're looking across the board. I will say that it's not replacing people at the moment, and it actually should never. It should help us make us decisions, but it should never replace those people, because again, it can make inaccuracies and hallucinations. And even when it gets to that point, it's not behaving like a person. It's all brain and no heart. that there's lots of contextual factors that some it can pull in, but it's still not human. So it shouldn't make those decisions. But there's certain places where it can help, like in medicine. My auntie actually very sadly just passed away from cancer, and the doctor hadn't spotted another place in her. AI would have spotted it. So we can't be going, oh, we don't want it. We'd certainly have loved that. But we didn't. So with people, we can use these tools, but it shouldn't be replacing. But I do still see in the future, it will replace certain things, but not in an overall way. Like, do you remember when the internet came out and it was kind of, we're never going to have libraries. They're going to be obsolete. We've got libraries. We love our libraries, and they pivoted to different places. That's what I see happening. But I could tell you so many more stories and things, but I'm going to try and keep it short. But it's opening a lot more opportunities for people to be in jobs that they could never be in before, because they're having outside tutors, they're having all these things that people that were wealthy could have and they couldn't have. And even like developing their own jobs, give me a business plan, help me articulate my thoughts, give me social network posts, whatever, to help get this new business on the ground. So it's going to change, but we're always going to have lots of jobs. We just have to think of what type of job. The only one I would possibly say is coding, because we all know how to code, don't we? But that could be one that I probably wouldn't advise people going into so much, but we're going to still need coders.
And then there's the future of jobs reports, which we talk about all the time. Do you remember those statistics off the top of your head? Roughly.
I'm going to make them up, but they're going to be, you'll get the idea. So I look at the Jobs of the Future report, and in 2025, they said something like 94 million jobs over the next 5 years will sort of go away in some way, shape, or form. And about again, I'm making this 120 million jobs will be added that we didn't have before. So more new jobs than what will go away. Mm-hmm. But that was only a small percentage of the overall. What the biggest shift in the workforce is predicted is actually exactly what Helen is talking about, which is a shift in the job itself. Mm-hmm. And so I like your example of the libraries, and my own example would be the newspapers, news reporting. Mm-hmm. That, the job of journalists with the printing press and the paper boy, setting it on your doorstep, that may have gone away, but news didn't go away. And so I think we're going to see a lot of shifting more than we are actually replacing.
Mm-hmm. And I think to Jim's point, there are whole industries that are going to go. I mean, that's the reality. I think these two things are very true. And there may not be coders, but people that know how to use the code well. And, there may not be graphic designers from scratch anymore, but people that know AI tools for how to use graphic design. So there's certainly industries that are going to be radically disrupted. But all the research does say it's just going to shift each industry and create more jobs versus not. But that's the prediction for now. What other burning questions?
There's not a question I'll ask. I want to make sure. And this maybe leads into, Chad, kind of the next iteration of where we're going with these types of conversations and maybe digging more into AI in education. But I'm curious, a couple of years ago, I know when the two of you were helpful meeting with our board and starting early conversations about AI in education. At that time, it seemed the dominant topic of conversation was, how do we prevent our students from cheating? And that was like almost the be-all, end-all. We've I'm sure, moved so far beyond that. So if you would, like sort of in today's environment and maybe as a precursor to what we'll be digging into in the future, what's the state of AI in education today? Because like I said, 2 years ago, I would have walked away saying all the focus is on teachers concerned about how the students are using AI and their plagiarism and all this other stuff. And I think so much more than that. So what is it? What do we need to be thinking about? Where might this go?
Good. You want to?
Yeah, I would say globally, people are still focused on that. educators don't know what to do because they're still sticking a lot of times with the assignments they were, and yeah, AI can do those for them. So that's still in a place where people don't know where to go. So people are not sure, how do we change these assignments, assessments, while navigating AI at the same time? But the bits I put up as well for misuses and limitations go a lot with education. So it's those people about like misuses, hallucinations and inaccuracies. That's a one. Also in education, I'm just trying to think, because we do research continually on this. If you ever want to look at all the things kind of that might pique your interest, if you go to Google Scholar and put my name in, you'll see all the articles that we do, but that is a big one, and we're going to probably be covering that for a while, sadly.
So I've been reading a lot about this too and following it. And I agree, there are still many, many, many teachers, family members, and administrators that continually talk about plagiarism and cheating. Although the new trendy fear has moved from plagiarism to cognitive offloading. That people will say, I'm not so nervous about cheating, but I am worried that they're going to use AI to do the thinking for them. I'm really concerned about this cognitive offloading. So I feel like that's coming in, this second wave of fears. And then I find that there's this other camp that's not fear-based, but they are really interested in what they would call innovation and what I would call hype. And so they've caught the bug and they are like full force steam ahead. And what I see right now is many schools in this camp over here are piloting AI programs. And many times this is side by side with a vendor. And their measurement is actually usually more about measuring tool usage than it is on measuring student learning or any kind of meaningful outcome. And this is why I say they're going to call it innovation. I'm going to call it hype. So I think we're kind of dividing into these two camps. Those people that we talk to in Arizona, especially through the work of the Institute, when we talk about the future of school and the future of learning, it all is in service of what can we do better to prepare students for the future, the skills that you showed there at the end with the new State 48 graduate profile. And the question is always, how can we use AI, create this new third camp that sort of is like, we have a vision and we want to use AI for this.
What do we do?
Yeah, and I think I'll just, to Leanne's last point, I think what you're starting to see more and more is we used to really measure schools by, did you pass your math test and did you get your 16 high school credits? And what we're seeing now is that's not necessarily an indicator that you're ready for the real world anymore. And so you're starting to see more and more of a push across the country and obviously locally around, what do kids actually need to be successful when they leave high school? And then let's capture that. What is that? Is that critical thinking? Is that problem solving? Is that digital literacy? How do you have ethics and empathy in this crazy world of technology? Which then you will start to see more and more around what do graduate profiles look like. Obviously, many of you in this room have been engaged in the State 48 graduate profile. AEF's in the back of the room that's helped partner with us on that. But I think that's the next iteration, which is school can no longer just be about school. It's about the learner and what's the learner going to look like when he or she walks across the stage, and then map school appropriately. We have time for another question or two, and then we'll do wrap up. Anything else burning? Please, Amanda.
I know this is probably constantly evolving and it's still very new. What kinds of solutions and maybe creative solutions are you seeing for the environment being proposed out there, apart from maybe like carbon credits or something like that? that's not consistently.
Do you want to go on? I seem to be first all the time, so
Oh, it doesn't.
Oh, go ahead.
This is a hard question.
Oh, maybe that's why I passed over to you. I don't know.
Well,
that's what I
said,
but
that's what I was thinking, but I
Okay.
didn't want to say it. No, I'm just kidding. It is a hard question, though. What I have heard as I've been asking the same question in rooms that I'm in is essentially this: that it is a huge environmental problem now. It is, and we're not gonna try and make it sugarcoat it. Thanks. That's the word I was looking for. But that as use continues, that the technology is going to become more environmentally efficient. And so it's going to breed new innovation of itself. It's going to breed new versions of itself that are more environmentally friendly. If we think about just technology in general, remember our old computers that would take up an entire closet. And then, and here we are today fitting them in our pocket, and they're so efficient and much more powerful. And in a similar kind of way, AI will evolve, and the emissions and what it requires to run will evolve as well.
Mm-hmm. I've got my spot. I've got two. I've got my own too. So, exactly like you said, and when DeepSeek came out, that's why it caused such a flux. So we have all the Amazon, Elon Musk, Grok, ChatGPT, Claude, all the rest of them, all in the US. And then when DeepSeek came out, it claims that it only used a fraction of all the power and things to make it. So if that's true, I'm still sure that they're trying to reverse engineer it and things like that and figure out whether it is. Even if it reduces half, great. But I think it's on the companies more. But still at the same time, we've got to do that balance. So we certainly don't want to destroy anything of our world. But by using these tools, it might help us figure out how to solve those problems. So it's kind of the balance of kind of figuring that out. But like Leanne said, if we can figure out how they're doing it, we're going to reduce the carbon footprint
And
and
then with
everything
the
else.
DeepSeek thing, it was like a lot of critics came out and said, see, if DeepSeek can do it, why can't OpenAI do it? And so it's almost like revealing that it can be done, and then that competition kind of spurs, it's like they did it, you can do it, and we're going to challenge you to do it.
So that's good competition. It's great competition. Although we found out DeepSeek was training its whole model on ChatGPT.
Yeah.
So there's a whole story behind all of these. We're telling kind of like snapshots, but we see it going that way in the future.
All right, for the sake of time, let's give these two incredible. That was the shortest fireside chat ever, but we're at 2:28, and hopefully having Dr. Lindsay up here kind of gives you a quick glimpse. So just a couple of closing remarks, and I don't know if Paul or Barbara want to say anything at the very end. So number one, thanks for being here today. As we alluded to earlier, this is step one of a 4-part series. Next time we get together, we're going to dig deeper into K-12. Some of these particular questions. What's it really mean for school today? What's that look like in Arizona? What might that mean for the future of teaching, for the future of learning, for the future of school? And so we'll dig deep into that in part 2. Then we will, as I said earlier, bring together some higher ed folks and experts and leaders to think about what this means for the future of higher ed. And then finally, we'll think about what this means for the future. Like really, if you think about the power of this, and the world we're sending our children into, like we have to guarantee our kids are ready for that world. And I think most of us would agree. By the way, I have a son who's a senior in high school. He's not ready for this world. I mean, he just did 13 years of education in a system not ready for this world. That's just the reality. Mm-hmm. But it's incumbent upon us in this space to say, let's make sure that's not true for the next generation. And how do we really think about reimagining all the way down? We have First Things First, not First Things First, Read on Arizona here. Thank you, Lloyd, for being here. Right, all the way down to early literacy, all the way up through high school. and all the way into college. What are we doing to reimagine the future of school to make sure kids are ready for the future?
I would say, again, don't be nervous about these. Do explore, just recognizing, data privacy and everything. But when you're thinking, oh, I'm way behind everybody else, just remember, I can tell you without a doubt, everybody else thinks the same thing. You are doing phenomenal. After today, you can go away and amaze everybody with all the stuff you now know. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.